Honk. What is up, people? How are we doing? Jacob, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, bro. How are you?
I am so excited to bring you on, man. I mean, you guys already know me and Jacob have met in person. We're the only, we're pretty much the main Cobra Kai UK creators.
We're carrying it on our back here in the UK.
And you know, me and Jacob have been saying for ages we wanted to collab, wanted to bring on Jacob for so long, and I'm just so glad we've done it now. We are doing a really fun stream today. And if you didn't know Jacob, he is the chosen one. So go check him out. Go subscribe to him now. Give him some love.
Thank you.
And
thank you, brother.
Yeah, let's get started. So
rock and roll.
Season 5 Miguel and Robby live discussion. Today we're going to be talking about the arcs of Miguel and Robby, and also overviewing their arcs from season 1 to 3, analyzing their season 4 arcs, and then we'll talk about season 5 and you know what we think is going to happen, because there's a lot of juicy stuff there, isn't there, Jacob?
A lot of juicy stuff, a lot of seeds, a lot of potential. Whew.
Right. So me and you obviously have this big love for Robby and Miguel. We both understand the arcs, how they went about these characters from the beginning, and you know we want to discuss this because we don't think no one's really spoken about.
It's not really being spoken about, and it's such a at least I feel, and I know you do, is that it's such a key element of going forward. Like, it changes the whole dynamic of the show. Like, I don't think people are ready for it.
Right. And the thing is, with this dynamic, it's possibly more powerful even than the Johnny Daniel dynamic, because it plays into the fact there was so many arcs, so many characters, all the relationships and dynamics we see are affected.
Because like Johnny and Daniel was built up for so long, but Robby and Miguel have like so much detail to them in all these seasons, where it's literally Goku and Vegeta. Like, any duo that you can think of, it's these two.
We said it. It's like if Dom and Hobbs came together. It's like if it's the Green and White Ranger coming together.
Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Anakin and Obi-Wan. The list goes on and on and on. Like, me and Jacob probably spent a good 5 minutes just going through lists.
Just every duo that you can think of in pop culture.
Right, yeah. Let's look at the chat. Let's give some love to some people. I see so many people, so many of you guys tuning in. Good to see so many familiar faces.
What's up, guys?
Mr. King, what's up?
King.
Mr. King in the chat. Tristan, I see you. What's up?
What's up, Tristan?
Mr. Spider-Man. Mode City Sean. Oh, look.
Goku and Vegeta.
Is that somebody we know? sounds too obvious now.
Sounds too good.
Talking Cobra Poo, what's up? Man. What's up, Talking Cobra Kai? How you doing, man? It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, man. Hope you've been well. Hope you're not getting into too many fights in school.
No, I knew you won that trophy, but you know.
Right, we have to. Let's get from the
Alex
beginning.
In the chat, I saw you above up there, bro. Honestly, people like Alex, man, you're the kind of people that these kind of streams are about, because you get it, like me and Shamoon do. Like, it's Miguel and Robby, man. It's the duo, man.
Strike first media. How's it going, bro? You know, I had to be careful how I said your name, and he said it wrong. I think you know what I'm trying to say. I can't say that. Oh. Wow. Yeah, seeing so many people. Someone asked whose ponytail is longer, Jacob's or Shamoon's?
It's probably going to be Shamoon's.
I think mine looks. I haven't done mine like a bowl like Silver's. I've just tied it as it is.
About like here, but that's about it.
Mine's fucking really long, messy, really messy. But without further ado, Jacob, let's get straight into this. So we have this segment. And the first part of this, we're going to do an overview of Miguel and Robby's arcs from season 1 to 3. So, I want to ask you, Jacob, when you were first introduced to Miguel and Robby, what were you expecting of their arcs?
So, as soon as we'll start with Miguel. So, as soon as Miguel was brought in, you already know that he's being set up to be the next generation's Karate Kid, and take that sort of Daniel route. the one thing I didn't expect, because they had obviously character posters before season 1 dropped, and I never really, like, I didn't pay attention to them, so I didn't know that Johnny had a son. And when you get to like episode 4, and Robbie's then brought in, I'm like, oh, this is an interesting dynamic. So Johnny has a son by blood that, you know, he has a checkered history with. And now he's paying attention more to Miguel and really finding redemption in him and the bond that those two share. And then there's that scene that cements everything that Miguel and Robbie are about, is when after Miguel, I think it's after the school cafeteria fight, when he whoops Kyler's ass and Johnny hands him the key, and Robbie walks in on it and sees that. There is an alternate timeline where Robbie walks in either earlier or later and still joins Cobra Kai. And that just changes the whole dynamic of this show. But all the way from season 1 to seasons forward, it's just Robbie and Miguel's whole thing can be summed up in that one scene alone, where it's based on misunderstanding, perception, communication, and perspective. So they both see it as something that it really isn't, or something that it is, but to the extreme level. And I think you're now going to start to see that being paid, be paid off. But I think when it happened in season 1, I was just like, who is this Robbie geezer? Like, get him out of here. Like, get him out of the way. Like, Miguel all the way. Miguel all the way. But then after a bit of time had passed, and then I rewatched season 1, I was like, you know what? Robbie's actually quite a nuanced character. There's quite a lot of layers to him.
Yeah.
Especially with him and Miguel and how similar they are. So I think going forward, before season 2 dropped, I was like, these two really have a lot in common. And I think the way this show is progressing, everything that's about to happen with these two has been a long time coming. A long time coming. And I mean, I know, like, myself, you are absolutely excited to see this duo come together.
Finally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me and you have been saying this ever since season 4, but obviously before we get to season 4, like, Miguel's arc, we'll continue with Miguel, then we'll go on to Robbie again.
Mm-hmm.
His arc in season 2, after season 1, was very much, this boy went from zero to hero, winning the All Valley, gets all this respect. I mean, Hawk always calls him El Serpiente, for example, all the time. And, Robbie's kind of on that downslope, in the sense of he's lost the All Valley, feels quite dejected because of it. But at the same time, there's a lot of hope there with Miyagi-Do and Daniel.
Yeah.
And, with Miguel, it's kind of, he has a season where obviously we don't have an All Valley, so it's really focusing on
the characters,
growing them, like from not just like what we've seen, because they were introduced in season 1. This was the time to start, giving them that growth,
really expanding upon them and seeing who they are.
Right. And, a lot of people love Miguel, and, people started to, I don't know how people originally felt about Robbie, but I think there was more love for Miguel at first than there was for Robbie. A lot of people hated Robbie. And then obviously when the Tori Sam stuff really kicks off halfway throughout the season, like, it starts to make Miguel and Robbie's, like, first few interactions come together. For example, the first moment we see them fully talking is when Miguel returns the Valor, or Miyagi's medal even. And, Robbie does something very controversial. Doesn't tell Sam about it, which...
Yeah, I was just like, Robbie, don't do that. Naughty. Didn't like that.
I was really annoyed, because that could have been obviously
the opportunity for...
It would have been an opportunity for Miguel to patch things with Sam and stuff, but Robbie was feeling quite
insecure
about that. It was, one thing I realized now, he is very much like Johnny, like, in the sense of, okay, I know that's his father, but he did what Johnny would have done with the Ali and Daniel situation, because he wanted Sam for himself. And in his eyes, in Robbie's eyes, it was like when Johnny had seen Daniel, kind of mingling with Ali, his ex. Miguel and, Sam had split up at that point. and Robbie's kind of like the third wheeling. He's the rebound.
Yeah, he's the rebound of the
and
situation.
he's basically the Daniel in that sense. And Miguel's trying to patch things with Sam. That would have patched things, but you can understand the hate for why people
the
didn't like
bitterness
Robbie
between the two. And I think that's one thing, just to piggyback off what you're saying, is that season 2, like season 1 does a good job in laying the foundation, laying what to expect for these characters, and season 2 really does a great job of just expanding upon them. And that's my favorite thing about season 2. I'll give you probably my favorite scene for each of these two. With Robbie, it's the one where Daniel visits him, like after Sam says, "How much do you know about Robbie's home life?" And the poor dude is like eating cereal with water, and then he looks like he's on the verge of crying when he talks to Daniel at the door. Like it fully, like, I don't know how people miss it. Like, it's right in front of you, the pain in his eyes. Then with Miguel, I'll give two for him, actually. The first one is, I think, in the first episode when Johnny's like, "If the only reason I'm hard on you is because you have the potential to be better than I ever was." And that right there is a defining trait of Miguel's arc, especially going forward. And then the second one is the conversation in the restaurant between Johnny and
that was
Miguel,
a great moment,
because it does two things. It allows Miguel to sort of see, oh man, Robbie's maybe not that bad, but at the same time, it brings Johnny and Miguel closer. Like, it's a great bonding moment for the two of them. And I just think that the emotion in that scene is so strong. And as much as all the other characters are cool in this show, I think the backbone of this show is Robbie and Miguel. Like, this rivalry, this whole show is pretty much around. Like, the other characters are cool and are there, but I think the reason they dragged it out so long is because once they're on the same page, good times await. But it can only happen because of the first few seasons where they lay that foundation for said things to happen by having it rise to an extreme tension, which then culminated in the school fight, which was epic and was like, oh, wait, it's a school fight.
Yeah,
and then Miguel gets kicked over a railing.
Right.
And it was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. It was shocking. I mean, it really gave the series a matter of drive to go into a new sort of what you'd like to say. I'd like to say like a new mountaintop. Season 1 was the start. Season 2 was that test. But now the bigger test is that season 3, with how dark it was getting. The arcs were getting deeper. People had to work together that couldn't originally, like Daniel and Johnny. But yeah, that Miguel injury was a turning point for Miguel's arc, of course, because this was something that a lot of fans still get annoyed about today, is how it's affected his ability to fight.
Yeah.
And to just doing more action and more karate, because a lot of people were saying in season 4 and season 3, like, they're kind of nerfing him, but we will get to that. Because I don't believe it's nerfed, it's character development.
It's not growth. Like how Daniel was nerfed in Karate Kid 3. It's there's much more grounding to like Miguel's sort of sidelining, quote unquote.
Right. Because how can Daniel go from beating Chosen in a death match to losing to Mike Barnes? Or being beaten by Mike Barnes in a real fight?
I mean, we'll get to that as well. Like, that's one thing that season 3 did, is made that look better upon reflection.
Right. And with Robbie, I fully understood the that sad reality that he had a mother that wasn't really giving two shits about him.
Yeah.
His mum was desperate for money. Robbie didn't have a lot of his living options weren't great.
Yeah.
And just seeing him go through that was quite sad. And to see Johnny being a good father to someone that isn't his own son was quite sad too. Because we love Johnny, but that's the flaw, that he wasn't a good father from Robbie from day one. And we obviously got the nuance of the conversation
and this
he
is
had.
Like the thing, like, also is, this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong. That we completely get it, is Robbie's hatred of the situation and his anger isn't necessarily directed towards Miguel. Like, this is 16 years of existing hatred. This is before Miguel even came into the picture. Like, imagine you had a father that was never there for you for 16 years. And the minute he's like, okay, I'm going to be there for you, he's now with some other kid, like, in front of you. Like, how else is anyone going to react? Of course, like, kicking someone over a railing, that's not good. And he needs to make up for that, but we'll get to that. But it's the tension kind of boils up into the school fight, where they're both throwing like verbal jabs at each other. not just she doesn't love you, she loves me, and all that usual stuff.
But, we have to say it. We have to say it.
I had to say it. But
I wish I had that clip
also,
ready.
like, you know,
I wish I had that clip ready.
oh, that would have been perfect. But then there's like, you know, like that move, learn it from your dad. Like it's just like, you know, the bitterness and the hatred that really escalates between these two, just because of everything that's around them, not necessarily them themselves, because they barely interacted. It's mostly what they've seen of each other, especially in the first 2 seasons. It's usually at distance, it's usually away from each other. And I think that's what has been so frustrating about it, is if these two just had a conversation, it would literally be dealt with like that.
Just like that.
Just like
And
that.
with the school fight, obviously things weren't exactly like that, because again, it's that perspective, right? It's the way the show works. It's not black and white. It's how these guys have their perspectives. Miguel's learned to strike first. He sees Robby putting his hand on Tori. He's gonna strike first. He's learned that.
Of course. Like
Robby was trying to de-escalate.
He's gonna think something else.
It's people don't realize he's in his mindset, and his rationale is to strike first. He's learned to. He's gonna strike first if he sees, especially Robby, who's kind of against, you know, Cobra Kai at that point.
Who's his like opposite.
Yeah, and putting his hand on Tori. I mean, if you look at that from the moment,
and then he kicks a Cobra Kai dude at that same time. Like it's literally, even though we know Robby was trying to break up the fight, Miguel walks into that and is like, "Oh,
right."
And Miguel like doesn't see it how we see it. Miguel sees it literally as, "Oh my god, this guy's starting a fight. I need to take him out. Okay, let's go. Time to rumble." And that obviously wasn't the case. And that's the perspective thing of they both see it a different way. And that culminates with Ali in the next season, which is like, you see it that way, you see it that way.
Exactly.
That's just the truth, you know?
You get it. You get it. Like, people always, I understand people love, everybody in the chat, all fans that love Robby and Miguel, or if you like one of them,
shit, Alex.
You see different sides and you relate to different sides and these opposite characters. But one thing you got to understand is they're different and they're going to do things differently. You know, Miguel's, and remember, they're like, these guys are teens.
Yeah, they're kids.
People forget they're teens. They're not fully grown adults to be nuanced and understand all these things and be like, okay, I'm sorry.
It is. And like, you know, everyone's different, you know, they're just kids. And, you know, obviously we don't all go kicking kids over railings, but, you know, like a symbolic kind of thing of where, you know, no kid is perfect. And there's always some part of, or element of these characters that we can really relate to, especially like, I think in terms of like Robby and Miguel, I don't think I've seen two characters. Sons, Johnny, act, get your sons. I don't think I almost said it again, seen characters like Robby and Miguel that have been done this well in any medium ever, to the point where it's applicable to the real world, to where people can relate to Miguel, where they grew up with a single mother and, you know, a loving grandmom, but maybe no father. And then Robby, who grows up with no mother, no father, just literally fending for himself. And I think seeing them two come together is eventually is also indicative of, it doesn't matter what your past is. You are not your past. You are what you make for yourself. And I think that's going to be a big thing going forward. And then also, like the school fight is the extreme example. Like that's mostly for the entertainment of the show. Like it's mostly just to like, oh my god. But you know, it's more for like the deeper themes of these two characters, especially in season 2.
Right. And you know what I love about season 2 that a lot of people don't realize is these characters had big moments. Now, obviously Miguel getting injured was a big moment, but I realized this more and more as we've seen season 4 going into season 5, is that kick by Robby led him down the path to not only join Cobra Kai and to get him away from Miyagi-Do, but to make Miguel understand the opposite side too. These guys, essentially, this is how powerful it was. That fight, the climactic ending to that ending of the school fight basically gave the next 2 seasons growth, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So you understand what's going on with Robby in season 3, going into season 4. With Miguel as well, he's conflicted. The injuries bringing him down, but he's trying to fight that, trying to prove he can still be the champ again. But like you said, these guys aren't defined
by a trophy,
and we'll get to that with the season 4 arcs. But they aren't defined by the trophies. Even though, Miguel's won one, but he's realizing he needs to find something which is
Like
really
as I
deep.
said, like with when Robbie started getting involved in the action, he never cared about the karate. He just wanted his father. That's all it was about for him. And
Mm.
with Miguel, he did it to defend himself and then get the trophy. But now he's had that, and then we'll talk more about it when we get to season 4. It's like I didn't know what I was fighting for anymore. Like, and the only way that can happen is because of that climatic fight in season 2, and then season 3 is them literally switching positions and going on different journeys that allow this to go forward. It's such a great transition. I love season 3's opener.
The writing for these characters, I have to say, for season 1, 2, 3 have been phenomenal. And I love the transition because that school fight not only went to a darker, it could get those guys going down like a more darker story as they're growing,
Yeah.
And as people are watching this show and growing into it, growing into the characters' arcs and really understanding what they're going through. But we see the start of season 3 is so dark. You're just seeing the aftermath, what's going on with Miguel. And like you said, with Miguel, remember that chat with Johnny? It really reminds me of just when Robby was saying to Johnny about that conversation, the hatred he had. He thought that whole anger he had the whole time.
So both of them.
Yeah, it was literally just because he wanted the role model that he always thought he could wanted. He always wanted, and he thought he could have been that to Kenny.
Kicked off. Like, you remember that scene, and I think William Zabka said it was his favorite scene, was him and Robbie in the car just talking. It was just a conversation. And obviously, like, he hangs up on Miguel, and then that's Johnny's problem, is trying to balance the two of them.
Right.
But having that moment where Robbie's like, thanks for driving me, Dad. Like, you don't have a scene like that and have Robbie go fully dark. Like, it's just, and then where Johnny goes from there is like, how can I balance, my son and then my pretty much other son? How can I find the balance of these two now? And that's what's going to be interesting going forward when we get to it. It's just, and it can only happen because seasons 1 and 2, and then especially 3, with the way it just changes them, not just in tone but the dynamic, and the fallout from the school fight sticks. Like, there are stakes. Like, it wasn't just they had a massive fight and it's pretty cool. It's like, no, it had stakes. Like, Sam had PTSD. Tori was basically put on the blacklist. Then you had Robbie expelled and on the run, warrant out for his arrest, and then Miguel was in a coma. Like, it really ended badly over teen love. And it was more than just Tori and Sam for Robbie and Miguel. It was the fight for Johnny. Like, after a little while, it was like, she doesn't love you, she loves me. But there was also the barbs of, like that move, learn it from your dad. It was more of like, okay, we're fighting for this. This, he's your father. Oh yeah, he taught me this. Did he teach you this? And it just boils up to a point where all the lessons that Miguel learned, and this is why Miguel is that dude. Like, this is where I think people need to instill nuance and context.
As you love to say.
I have to say that.
I love it.
Is Miguel and Robbie, you can love both of these characters, and I'm going to tell you why. Miguel does exactly what Johnny wanted him to do. He didn't just show mercy. He evolved past everything Johnny wanted him to, where the potential to be better than I ever was. If Miguel breaks Robbie's arm there, that is a completely different story going forward there. Right. And I feel like Robbie's anger and hatred, he needed some kind of traumatic, terrible event for him that he does to really wake him up and go, hey, you're moving a bit mad out here, Robbie. Obviously, it's to the extreme. But the hatred is so high in that moment. When he boots him over the railing, it's like there's a look of shock and horror on his face. I've just kicked this guy over. Oh, and he even says it in the opening of season 3. He's like, I kicked Miguel over the railing. Like, this is my fault. And then the spiral happens. And it's just, I love the fallout of the season 2 finale. Like, it's the perfect second act ending. Probably one of the best finales I think I've ever seen, especially because these two are so key to it.
Right. And literally what you were saying at the start of that with the stakes, again, the power of Robbie and Miguel, how that affected everybody, and that's coming full circle at the end of season 4. And in season 5, it will come full circle eventually. And of course, we'll get to that. But in season 3, you see the effect of Robbie's actions, Miguel's injury, how that literally brought everybody together, trying to you know, again, what was the issue? It was the beef with Johnny and Daniel. They had to resolve that. And, you know, going through season 3, I know you said Robby, you said it previously that Robby kind of was sidelined in season 3, but he was in juvie. He had a reason
It
to
was
kind
almost
of.
like a meta way of basically when the events happen at the season 3 finale after that epic house fight, and then Johnny goes to the dojo. It's like, oh wait, yeah, Robby, and that's like I think a creative intention where it's like we don't forget about Robby, but our focus isn't on him. So when he's there, it's like, oh my god, Robby, and then like in each finale, Robby and Miguel are literally always the key deciding factors of every finale and how it goes. And throughout season 3, man, the tone, the beat down that Robby got in juvie, being thrown around the place, Miguel's scene of where he screams at Johnny, you know, look at me. Oh,
acting.
Perfect by Xolo. And you can just see the pain in Miguel's eyes and his face. There's like, I did everything you asked, and look what's happened. And
oh man,
it took Johnny to really try and be there for both of his sons. Even Bobby said to him, you know, you got to be there for them both, whether it works out or not. And he tried to find that balance, and it didn't quite work. And I think this is where the key part of Robby's component, the key component to Robby's character is that culminates in season 4, is everyone's been trying to stop him from going that path.
Right.
Robby needs to make that choice himself. Like it gets to a point where it's like, Robby, you got to choose your path. Like Miguel has always, I think, been, as I say, he's the heart of the show because he's always strong-willed. He wants to do good. He's always like, I mean, in the season 2, like around that sort of forest fight, he was sort of leaning towards that way, but he pulled himself back, and then Robby went the other way. So I mean, like these two are like really like polar opposites. They're sort of running in tandem with each other. And I think it gets to a point where it's like, you know, Robby has to go down that path and Miguel has to go that way because it's about Miguel rising again and it's about Robby falling. Like it's literally an inverse of the other. And then they both rise up.
Together now.
Together.
So it's kind of like you got the characters, season 1, season 2, they're growing. They go these ways about their arcs.
Yep.
And then it's going to go all the way up and up and up until a point where it reaches again, which is when they freaking will come together. And from season 3, obviously Miguel had been nerfed from what a lot of annoyed fans say, but it's not what you call nerfed, it's character development. Now, Miguel, how did you feel about his arc? Like with Robby's, I loved his arc,
Miguel,
even though
I
he was
expected him to, and I'm really glad that they kind of went the route they did with Miguel, because the fact, like, you know, I'm all about what's the foundation of the narrative of the story, and the school fight showed us that there is stakes. So it would be unrealistic, given the foundation that's been set by the show, for Miguel to be walking and whooping ass again at his prime. Like, I think season 3 Coma Miguel, like that's going to be the peak Miguel when he's back to his best. But I think they had to do that for him because it's more of, he's already had a trophy. He's already had that win, and he'll probably get another win by the end of the show for sure. He's the Karate Kid of this generation.
Exactly.
But I feel like his arc is more so, I'm not defined by a trophy. Who am I? And I think sidelining him, like, no, I wouldn't agree with the nerfing. Like, you know, as we've talked about many times, like nerfing him suggests that they've made him weak. I think they buffed him. The fact that he was even walking and he's that kick that he did in the tournament, and I think it was in the semis. Was it the quarters?
Oh,
that tornado kick. The fact that he's even able to pull that off, that isn't nerfing. That's buffing him. And I'm telling you, when it gets to season 5, the dude is going to be reaching prime season 2 Miguel and then some. But in regards to just season 3 or season 4 as a whole, I think when you get to like from the season 3 finale onwards, when he sees that Robby's joined Cobra Kai, it's not like he's looking like angry. It's just like, man, dude, what are you doing? And then that's where like the Eli parallel comes in later on. But I think where Miguel is going is he is the culmination of everything that this show has been building towards. Even with Johnny and Daniel, you can apply it to them where it's like they are so caught up on this rivalry over a trophy and a beach fight that happened 30 years ago. Like Robby and Miguel, don't make our mistake, because what happens is this, it bleeds into a school fight. People nearly get killed. People nearly get hurt. And then they'll get to a point where it's like, okay, we're not defined by silverware. It's who we are. And with Miguel, I love that he makes the choice to not go back and compete. Not just because we get that sick fight with Eli and Robby, but because we really sort of see who Miguel is. Like, these are the kids where, like, they're all at the age, and I'll use an Uncle Ben quote. These are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become for the rest of his life. Just got to be careful you change into. And that's where it can sort of goes hand in hand with what Tanner said about Robby's arc at the finale, where he makes that choice. And Miguel going to find out who he is and where he comes from to get closure on that past is how he moves forward. And I really think, I really like what they did with him this season. I think they balanced him well. And I think it was natural that he would take a shine to Daniel and Miyagi-Do. Like, it works for him. It works for him. I really like what they did with him.
With season 3, like going into season 4, I was expecting a big season for both characters because obviously Miguel had been injured. You know, him beating the hell out of Kyler by the end. I know he was getting battered by Kyler, but you know, that moment where he was like, yeah, thank you for the motivation. That was a big deal.
That's my boy. Go on, Miguel.
And then obviously Robby fighting Johnny, that was a complete polar opposite to the moment he had with his dad in season 4. And I thought that was interesting that in the season 3 finale,
comes full circle.
He was fighting his father on the opposite scale in season 4. He's actually reconciling. It's amazing how they flip that.
Good. It's just,
and it's in the same place.
Same place.
And then, yeah, season 4, I expected quite a lot from Miguel's arc in terms of him kind of getting back to where he is, you know, but kind of learning from Daniel and that, you know, history between him and Johnny, maybe a little bit with the styles.
Yeah, of course.
And then obviously him trying to, because him and Sam were pretty much the reason why the team up happened, apart from Daniel and Johnny. They really, you know, in the LaRusso house before the fight, before Bert gets thrown through the window, you can see they're clearly
push it along.
I can't forget Dimitri. He is definitely one of the reasons why the team.
Speech, I was like, that's my boy.
Right. But like Miguel and Sam have been trying to get these guys to come together, and they had those arguments in the house, you know, between Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do. But the moments we see in going, you know, season 4 through to the first few episodes, obviously things are kind of, they seem good with Miguel and Sam, let's say, and you can kind of see with Miguel, he's just trying to learn more from the opposite because he knows Johnny so well. And with Robby, it's, you know, him embracing the darkness of what he experienced in season 3. And, you know, that path, I mean, let's talk more about Robby first, and we can get into the Miguel stuff, because I feel with the way they did the Robby stuff, we were talking about, you know, the reconciliation he had with Johnny. Yeah, so Robby's arc from the start of season 4, what were you expecting for him? Because for me, I thought it was going to be his season. You know, he's got so much to prove with Cobra Kai. You know, prediction of him being the champion for them, him bringing back that Cobra Kai that Kreese wanted, and obviously Silver coming into play. Yeah, was a huge deal. But yeah, what was your expectation for Robby?
Initially, I was kind of hoping they would like go all in on the season, like the finale Robby, like when he's like, "You are weak." I was like, "Oh, chills."
Like you said, Anakin.
Yeah, it's just the facial expression and the tension. I'm like, "Jeez, it's literally." And even the soundtrack's called "Duel of the Snakes." I mean,
what a badass song!
And the creators even said it themselves. Anakin wishes he had this arc. I was saying it for the last year, but it's. I'm kind of initially I was a bit like, I'm not really sure if I like this, but then upon rewatch, I was like, you know what? I really like what they did with him. Like I've obviously been one that's just like, you know, he's got to win to prove a point. But with the way season 4 played out, I'm kind of glad that he didn't. And it all starts with that scene in the first episode, because you don't see Sam's reaction to him joining Cobra Kai. Like you don't see it. So I'm like, right, they're going to do something with that. And in episode 1, they have a conversation, much to Robby's like dismay. He's like, "Oh, here we go." And then Sam comes up, and it's literally just like an Anakin Padme thing, where it's like, you know, you're a good person, yada yada yada. I'm like, yeah, he's redeeming.
Redeem Rhea.
That's Kyler, by the way. He's going to redeem in a future season.
I always laugh when you bring it up on your streams. Just whenever you say redeem, I just think of Kyler now.
Yeah, it's this. Could you imagine? He's like, I'm gonna redeem Rhea. But it's I think that scene was what really sort of cemented it for me. I'm like, there's a bit more to it. And Robbie and Miguel sort of work in tandem this season, even more so than before. Like Robbie's whole thing is like everybody thinks that their way is the only way. You, my dad, Cobra Kai. Truth is, it doesn't matter what way you fight as long as it works. And Miguel, his whole thing is like, what if I don't want to stop learning both styles? Like there's so much to it where these two, even though they're on opposite sides of the fence, they're still running in tandem. It's just like they're still both getting it. And with Robbie's arc this season, I think him going through this, he needed to go through this to get all that hatred out of him, to get to a point where he's like, man, I've been a real ass. Like, what am I doing here? This is terrible. This is awful. And that's where it relates to like Kreese and Kenny and that perspective shift of where they get the perspective from the other point of view, where he sees how, like in season 1 when Miguel won, Robbie had this look on his face, like, man, I wish that was me with my dad. And then Daniel takes him away. And even though Johnny should be celebrating with Miguel, he's focused on Robbie. And then in the season 4 finale, Tori and the Cobras are celebrating. The camera pans on Robbie. He's focused on Johnny. Like it switches them. And I think as much as I would have liked Robbie to have the win, I think the way that they did it was earned. It was like, if he loses, he comes home. If he wins, might give him more incentive to stay. And I think Robbie, what I loved what they did is that he didn't just go completely to the dark side for all intents and purposes. It was more of he wanted to use Cobra Kai to get what he wanted. And he was still the Robbie that was like in season 1 stealing laptops. It was still like, you can't scam a scammer, as King would say. It's keeping that sort of integrity to him going. And he even tells Johnny, look, I was trying to de-escalate it. Miguel's the one who, pushed it along. And then Johnny's like, look, I wasn't there. And then, the conversation ends abruptly because Johnny and Miguel just had a little bit thing before that. And I think with the way that these two kind of both work this season, there is so much opportunity now for these two to come together because of what season 4 does. Miguel's going on a journey of self-discovery. Robbie's on the road to, redeeming, out his mess that he caused. He's caused all this. And I think, one thing I've been saying for a long time is that you got to look at the long-term arc, like season to season. Of course, like the characters grow, but I really think that Robbie in particular has this long-term arc that's now going to be paid off. And I think even Miguel, and it's all going to come together next season, but it was only possible because of this season. And I love what they did. I love what they did.
Right. Like Robbie's season was so great because like I was saying from the start, we all love Miguel. A lot of people didn't like Robbie from the beginning. And then you see this transition where after season 3, people were loving this Robbie. And you start to see people start being a bit lame on Miguel. Oh, he's nerfed. Oh, la, la. In season 4, he was getting a lot of shit. Like a lot of fans were saying so-and-so about even his weight. What he looks like. It's like people got chill.
Like I'm just saying, like he's hench.
Xolo has put on muscle. Remember, he's filming for Blue Beetle, and he's getting in shape for that. So he has to train up and make sure he's ready for that too.
I think it's just because like the way, like when they all started, the kids, they're all like young, and then they mature as they go with the show. So like when Xolo started, he was like scrawny and small, but now he's like filling out and getting older. Like that's just normal. I mean, look at Anthony.
And the thing is, I love the moment that you brought up about that conversation with Robbie and Sam, because what they say is very important. Because Robbie says you're not going to get what you want.
She doesn't get what she wants,
and she doesn't. She wants Robbie to come over, but it actually does happen in the end because
in a way,
it's starting to happen because of that reconciliation with Johnny and Robbie. And then the thing is,
Sam says to him, if you could just come back, it could bring everybody together.
Exactly. And it's so crazy because that conversation just highlights what Robbie needs to do in order for this to kind of fix itself and let it play out. But at the same time, it was insane because he didn't win the All Valley, but Cobra Kai still ended up winning.
Yeah.
And that also was a weird way of saying you deserve this because you deserve to understand that like you said it from the start. You don't care about a trophy.
Yeah, it's not what you got into it for.
And remember the reason why he joined Robbie when he joined LaRusso Auto. His father.
Mm-hmm.
And this is important now, going on to with Miguel as well, like him deciding not to compete. He'd won a trophy. He realizes it's not about a trophy. He's trying to do something that not even his own sensei ever did.
Yeah, something that Johnny was afraid to do.
Without his father. Like, that was a very ballsy move to go to Mexico.
Alone, 17. Like, that's huge.
Right. And not knowing the extent of his father, what he's like now, even though his mum said he's a bad man. He knows where he lives. He needs to go and meet him. And then, it's just crazy how these guys have grown. I know people say about Miguel's injury, and I was definitely annoyed seeing that injury, but I could see it happening because I definitely felt it would have been a push to understanding more about himself. And, he's already won a championship. I mean, I want to see him win again, but
I want to see him win again.
If Robby won it, he would have just stayed in Cobra Kai, I think, to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So now these guys, their season 4 arcs, it plays out. We see Miguel at the end going to Mexico. We see Robby having that moment with his father. He's lost the Ore Valley. He understands now what his dad felt when he lost.
Yeah, and when he tried to fight him as well.
Right. And he is definitely good. This is the part I can't wait to bring up now because we were saying it earlier on and before.
Mm-hmm.
What happens now going into season 5 is that Miguel is going to go through the arc that Robby has had from the start. And Robby is now going to understand Miguel from all the arc he's had from season 1. And what I mean by that is Robby's now going to get that relationship with his father. Like Miguel was starting to have a relationship with a father figure as he never had his dad around. Remember, Robby hasn't had his dad around. And Miguel is now on that lone wolf path that Robby was having from the start, and then learning about Daniel and Miyagi-Do. Exactly. And self-discovery. And now
it's like what season 3 did, where it switches them quite literally.
Literally now. They're going to come together. And why is that, Jacob? Why is that?
They're going to come together because that's what the backbone of this show is built on. These two, like Eli and Tori and Sam, they're great. But Robby and Miguel are like, you could make a case. You could make an argument that Robby and Miguel are both the Karate Kids. But I think all the kids equally share that kind of mantle. But Miguel is like the, poster Karate Kid. But these two coming together, I'm telling you all, right? And you can listen up. This is what's going to happen. When Johnny goes to find Miguel, this is the start of Robby's redemption here, right? Everyone listening. Johnny's going to go. Robby's going to say, I'm coming with you. Johnny's going to say, no, you're not coming with you. It's dangerous. No, don't be stupid. And Robby's like, no, I owe him one. I put him in the hospital. I need to start making up for stuff I've done. I'm coming with you. And what's going to happen is Johnny and Robby are going to get split up. Not in a bad way. They're just going to get split up. Robby is going to be the first person to find Miguel. It could be in a situation where they both have a quick fight with some people, teaming up, Goku and Vegeta style, any duo you can think of. But the conversation will happen. And the reason why they've dragged it out for 4 seasons is because they needed to build to this moment. This moment is everything the show is building towards. And from here, there is so much you can do. There is so much territory you can go into with the level of nuance that these characters have is insane. And it's going to be paid off. And it's not going to matter whether you're Team Robby, Team Miguel. It's not going to matter because they're both coming together. Both on the same page. And with Silver being, for all intents and purposes, the big bad now, you need these two. If you have these two, you don't need anyone else. And with all the progression that Eli and others got, I mean, it's just good business, Brilliant. Yeah. And I think the conversation that will happen between these two, I'm just excited for it because it's going to be awkward at first. Like it's going to be, and we can link this right back to the moment that we both talk about in season 4, when they're at the house party before Stingray comes in.
Oh my God, yes.
they look at each other. Both of them look at each other like not like angry or like want to throw a verbal jab. They
Like
want to
Robbie
talk.
did not have any aggression in that look. He was
Mhm.
kind of like, "Oh, Miguel," and
Yeah,
Miguel was like,
it's like they
"Oh,
want to
wait,
talk.
it's crazy."
Yeah, they both want to conversate with one another. They both want to talk. It's just a case of who is gonna break it first. And
Break the
I
ice, yeah.
yeah, who's gonna break the ice? And it could go either way. It could be an awkward situation where they both do it. But they're gonna be forced into a situation probably where they have to work together. And it's not like they're gonna be buddy buddy. There's a lot of stuff they have to sort out. And it's not like,
Right, a lot.
high-fiving each other. It's it's gonna take time, but there's gonna be respect that's formed between them. And with the way season 5 will play out, you'll have Sam, Tori, Eli, Sam and Tori will be on the same page. Eli and Co defending the Valley, and mid-season, after the Mexico stuff happens, Robbie Miguel, right, the sons of Johnny Lawrence, so Miguel Lawrence and Robbie Lawrence, calling it
I
early,
love it. I love it.
are coming side by side. The cavalry has arrived.
The cavalry has arrived.
Mic
drop.
Mic
Honestly, the more and more I talk about this, the more excited I get. Because what I love about season 5 is, even though me and you have said they just need to talk it out, explain each other's perspectives, nuance each other, give each other the context
and
of their freaking arcs. They need to understand with
it,
their own experience and their own
it's
eyes.
one thing talking about it to each other, where it's like, okay, all right, I see your point in a way, but understanding your point of view,
you need to live it.
Exactly. And now, like with Robbie seeing Johnny's point of view of things, allowed him to come home, and now Miguel seeing Robbie's point of view on things allows him to understand that, and Robbie seeing Miguel's point of view on things is like, ooh, like, and there's parallels between these three. It just runs in tandem. These three, like, when they all come together, Johnny, Robbie, and Miguel on the side.
Essentially, what's happening with season 5 with Miguel and Robbie's arcs is they're sort of mirroring each other. Because, like we said, Miguel's going on that lone wolf path now. You know, he's not all about Johnny. He doesn't think of Johnny as that father as much now, or we will find out truly how he feels after season 5. But it's clearly that he needs to figure out his own within that, because Johnny never did. Johnny could have technically looked for his father, but he never did. And we did see a bit of a tease of that. So maybe that does something for Johnny's arc.
That could do something down the line.
Definitely could. We still don't know the father.
Miguel benefits him. Sort of like, so Johnny benefits Miguel. Miguel benefits Johnny. It's a give and take, you know?
And also, they learn from each other.
Yes.
You know, like you said, Miguel was the second chance for Johnny to redeem himself of being a good father and proving that to himself. He did that in certain ways. Now, with Robbie, he's now going to understand what Johnny was doing for Miguel and why he was doing it.
Pushing Robbie away.
Yeah. And understanding that he wasn't trying to, you know, oppose Robbie and throw it at him or go, look, I care about Miguel more.
It just
he wanted to.
Chance.
I think it will come full circle that he wanted to prove to Robbie, I wanted to be a good father, and I didn't want to do it again. I wanted to show that I can be something else. And I think that's just evidence that Robbie can see him being a father for him.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while. It's not just a matter of, okay, you're my dad, but the fact Robbie also called him dad was a big deal for me.
Yeah. When he said, "I'm sick of blaming you, Dad," like, it encapsulates everything. Like, and shout out to Tanner as well. That tear was timed perfectly on hate inside of me. It's like he's
Xolo and Tanner's acting. Like Xolo in the scene with Johnny in season 3, and now and in season 4 with both of these guys, Tanner and Xolo. Honestly, they convince you so much of these characters.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it bodes so well for the future. Like, it's going to be an awkward season for these two because they're not. It's, you know, and this is where I've seen people say, "Oh, Johnny will have to, you know, say to Miguel, oh, I'm not choosing Robbie over you." He won't have to say it. Just him going to all the way to Mexico alone in and of itself speaks volumes of how much Johnny cares for Miguel. Now, when he sees Robbie there, he'll be like, "What on earth are you doing here?" And then that opens the door there. But seeing Johnny come for Miguel will be like, Miguel, like, oh, you know, I'm looking for my father, but, you know, it's not always about who your blood is. It's about who cares about you and who you care about. And I think as much as Johnny initially saw Miguel as a second chance, and he wants to be a good father to Robbie and all that. I think it's a credit to Miguel. If it wasn't for Miguel, then he wouldn't have this chance to reconcile with Robbie. And I think that's what Miguel will come to understand is, man, I brought these two together too. And then that's where Robbie will be like really grateful, like, hey, I'm sorry, I nearly killed you. How can I make this right? And it would be like a life debt where he owes him, sort of like how Johnny owes Daniel. Like another parallel.
Do you know what? Also, I think is this isn't going to be an easy way to just bring them together. I feel what's going to happen now, and I don't know if you feel the same, but I think you might, based on what you've been saying, is that based on what happens in Mexico, Miguel is gonna. I think he will. It's either he sees Johnny after seeing his father, or vice versa. Johnny catches up to him, or Johnny and Robbie end up going together. I mean, you saw the image. Tanner's there with Johnny, and he goes with Johnny to make amends because he said that hatred I had for you and Miguel.
Yeah, he's
guilty, too. And the only reason he hated Miguel was because of what he did with his father. He didn't mean it personally. It's more like a business thing, this is nothing personal. It's just business.
It's just good business. Well, business.
And I don't mean that literally a business, but you kind of get what I'm trying to say with like metaphorically. Like it's one of those things where I think Miguel might first see Tanner, or I should say Robbie, in Mexico. I think this could happen. And he's kind of like, why are you here? And I think he's not going to be happy to see Robbie at first, or be more confused. And then I think Robbie is then going to try and sort of apologize. And do you think Miguel is going to immediately go, wait, you're apologizing? Do you think he's going to get really annoyed with Robbie? Like, you could have done that earlier. Because I think it might be that he's sort of being Robbie from previous seasons. And then Robbie is being Miguel from previous seasons. He's got that purity now of Miguel. And then Miguel's got that darkness and that anger that maybe Robbie had. I don't see it being so extreme. Long. Just kind of you feel
it'll be an undertone. It'll be an undertone. Like it won't be dragged out the whole season, but it'll at least be a few episodes. Like don't drag out any longer. Like you just know they're going to drag this. They're going to drag it out mid-season for these guys to have a conversation.
That's going to be so hard to watch.
What you're doing, creators, you know what you're doing.
Josh Hayden, you guys did this on purpose.
You three. Bloody legends you are. But I think at first Miguel will be that way because of the last thing he heard in terms of Robbie. Was with Johnny in that scene that he was like, I love you too, Robbie, like heartbreaking.
God, we didn't even mention that. That was
ouch.
That was tough because all the arc they've gone through, and I just really felt Johnny was really kind of, when drunk, they say you're more honest.
Yeah.
And it looked like Johnny was proving that he was just he thought of Miguel as Robbie and just like a second chance of Robbie,
Mm-hmm.
That's what it kind of proved.
That, like he was with the silver stuff, involving Robbie. He pulled up without hesitation. And this is something I think people also forget is that I'll throw it back to the season 3 finale when he saw Miguel battered and bruised. Without hesitation, he stormed down to that dojo. He's like, you messed with my pretty much my son for all intents and purposes. Oh, no, I'm coming. We're having words. And then he sees Robbie and a gi. He's like, okay, right, you've done both my sons. Okay, now time to party. And then in this season, when Silver's like, getting involved with Robbie and Shannon, no hesitation, pulls up with a crowbar. Like he cares about them both equally. It's just I think he's trying to find that balance. And this is where Miyagi comes in perfect because now he can do it. He's always known what to say to Miguel, never knows what to say to
Robbie. The thing is, Johnny's got that method where he knows how to tell someone straight up what to do and he's very robust in that way, right? Whereas obviously, like with Miyagi-Do, that end of stuff, it's about the balance, and he's learning that from Daniel and using Miyagi-Do. The balance of having defense. He used that in the fight against Silver, which is just a tease that he is going to learn more about Miyagi-Do and just the principles of life. Because, it's like he was even telling Johnny about that lesson about, what Miyagi said to him in the Karate Kid 3 when they were planting the bonsai, about the root and then it becomes, metaphorically saying it becomes your karate, how you teach it.
Yeah.
That was sort of a way of Johnny learning more Miyagi-Do there and understanding his karate is growing, but how he's teaching him to these guys, it's how they see it now. Kind of like how Sam was trying to embrace Eagle Fang and the Miyagi-Do stuff
like
at the same time.
Johnny and Miguel really another parallel, like Johnny and Miguel parallel each other, is that Miguel at first had all those kind of teachings instilled to him, and look where it sent him. But now Johnny's getting that. It's sort of, they go hand in hand. Like they're both learning this technique and becoming better people because of it. And Johnny's whole thing is he was focused so much on the past and unable to let it go that he couldn't move forward. And I guarantee you, if he got those Miyagi-Do teachings a little bit sooner, things would have been different for him.
Very different.
There's a whole new timeline in it, whole branch timeline,
If honestly, even if Daniel just kind of had that little bit of edge that he had or started to accept with offense, he may have not been trod on so easily in the first place,
Yeah.
And that makes you think, because now he's embracing that at the end. And obviously it's not really to do with Miguel and Robby, but more so with Cobra Kai and, the agenda that he has for bringing in Chosen and all that stuff. We'll definitely talk about that in another stream for sure. But so the Miguel's arc, so we know that he's going to try and find his father.
Yeah.
We know Johnny's going to try and find him in Mexico. And also we know that he's going to finally be nuanced on that Robby story and that life. Because I think what could happen is they see each other early in season 5. Shit happens. And then that's when Miguel understands Robby's arc. And then he feels, more likely to work with Robby.
Time away from it. Like he starts to really internalize it. And so that's what that feels like.
They play that out over a good few episodes. And the same with Robby. He's going to Mexico, trying to have that relationship with his father, understanding.
He starts to see it from Miguel's point of view, and linking all the way back to the
what you said there.
When Miguel showed mercy. When Miguel showed mercy to him, he starts to see that for what it was and what he actually did. And then they both have the inverse. They're like, man.
Basically, they're having like that Aliens meme moment where their head just explodes with like, wow. It's like an Owen Wilson moment, like, wow.
They're just so like connected, It's just that their arcs will run in tandem with one another. It's just
what's interesting is Robby knew about balance, but he didn't know how to channel his anger.
He didn't know how to internalize it.
Right. Whereas Miguel has been learning about balance, and also there's more to, because there's no balance with him just thinking that winning a trophy is me being back to where I was. There's no sense of, there's not really a sense of growth with that. It's just I won again. That's it.
It's just like, okay, you won a trophy again.
Right. And I believe because of what's going to happen with these guys in season 5, the midpoint, I hope by the mid-season they run it to that point, like episode 5 of season 5.
Oh yeah, because something always happens in that mid-season.
I want to see the ending, Miguel and Robby, and this is probably after they have to team up together to fight maybe some
they're ready to team at once.
Is when they fully bury their beef, and maybe this is when they decide to head back to the valley. And with Johnny, with both his sons,
his sons side by side,
all of the stuff with the father plays out. We'll see what happens with Miguel's father, if he plays a bigger part, or he ends up going to the valley with them if something crazy happens. We don't know how that plays out with his father, but we know for a fact his father's going to be a big part. And to see them go through together, and how it goes to the end of season 5, them cementing that team up, then obviously seeing Sam and Tori come together, and just everybody coming together, like we were discussing in other streams. I mean,
all the characters and the kids that we all care about will all come together. Like I think it's just a given at this point. I think that you could even throw Sean and Kenny in there down the line with like the nuance that they've given those two. And I think that starts with Robby and Miguel, because if these two come together, you can throw it all the way back to season 1 and 2. Like, who was the top dog in each dojo? Robby and Miguel. Like, if you put them on the same page, who's really channeling this beef? It's just more of continuing for the sake of continuing. And now that Sam and Tori have the potential to be on the same page as well, especially with the season 4 fallout. And I often said that I think season 4 would be the darkest, and season 5 would plant the seeds for the end game. I think the seeds have already been planted, and season 5 is about teasing the end game. So
and starting the journey.
Yeah, so Robby and Miguel will have that fight, and it will be like sort of like Daniel and Johnny in the chop shop in season 3, like a fight like that. And they're like, oh, these two are going to be good. They come in mid-season together. Cavalry has arrived, and it's just a little tease of what's to come.
Can I also, well, I think we didn't really mention, but what I found interesting is that with Miguel and Robby, they're obviously not the age of Johnny and Daniel. They have actually been able to, by the time we see this in season 5, they have cleared out their beef quicker than Daniel and Johnny ever had. And they are better than Daniel and Johnny were because of the way they were able to get through their problems. And again, you were saying giving back with Johnny and Miguel. I think what Robby is going to go through with Miguel is going to teach Daniel how important it was for him to just appreciate, Johnny as he was, and the fact he was willing to try, trying to understand his perspective. But it was really Daniel not letting, again, what you said earlier on, not letting go of the past, what Johnny's been doing, and that is going to be taught. They're going to think, damn, Robby Miguel really made us proud.
Dealt with it in literally a year or two. Yeah. We haven't dealt with this for like 30 years. Wow.
And it sounds like a joke, and they could make a joke of it, but essentially, what they've done for Miguel and Robby, both Daniel and Johnny, is going to be, it's that quote that Kamiko said. What did Kamiko say? You put good out there, it will come back. The good that they put in these two,
and it'll come back to you,
is now coming back to them, which is they are teaching Robby. I mean, they're teaching themselves what they should have done, and a valuable life lesson.
Yeah,
and
like they'll see it at first hand, and as we were saying earlier, like having the conversation and telling someone it is one thing. Understanding it and seeing it is what really cements it. And when they see Robby and Miguel burying it, they're like, "Why didn't we do this earlier?" And credit to Robby and Miguel, they're like 17, like nearly turning 18. They've already it's time will tell. This season's still long, but once they drop it, it's not a case of if, just when they drop it, it's going to be like, man, these kids are the evolution of, to astronomical levels of where the story goes from here. If they can bury this, then hey,
everybody else is going to come together. And like Sam kind of foreshadowed that with that conversation at the start
of season 4.
See, that was the first episode. Now I'm thinking this first episode of season 5 is going to be a little bit different, I feel. Yeah. Or it could be that Robby has this conversation with Sam again, and it's, just kind of alluding to that kind of parallel, with the parallel with the end of episode 10 in the season 3.
Yeah.
And the comparison with that to the end of
Robby's with them this time
4.
And not against them.
Right. Now that conversation Sam had with Robby in season 4 is going to be different at the start of season 5. I think they will have a conversation to clear the air about everything.
Yeah.
And then I think by season 6, there'll be a conversation where we do hear that Robby and Miguel are, together as friends. And speaking of the team up, like you said, these guys are the main students. They are the main guys of their dojos. With things going on in season 5, how do you think they're going to go about this whole dojo stuff? Like, where is Robby going to end up, and where's Miguel going to end up? Because we were debating, we could see Robby kind of going to Eagle Fang based on the relationship with Johnny, and Miguel maybe finally going to Miyagi-Do. And again, how they go about Sam and Tori. Does Sam end up going to Eagle Fang and Tori
I think
end up
it
going
could play out like that.
That's definitely a theory.
That's definitely a theory. But I think one thing I also had in mind was that as cool as Eagle Fang is, I think since we're gearing up for a big final battle, I say we bring it full circle. Cobra Kai versus Miyagi-Do, all-out war. Like it started with those
the Civil War.
Bring it full circle. Like you have Kreese and Silver having a civil war over there for a little bit, but with Miyagi-Do, because Johnny can't teach at the moment, and we only know of Chosen, so that leaves Johnny's students in limbo, and he's going to be out at Mexico with Miguel and Robby. So that leaves Devon, Penis Breath, Bert, just all a bit uncertain. So I say maybe for a little bit, they all joined Miyagi-Do under
Sort of,
Chosen.
because I was thinking that would work because with the trust that Johnny and Daniel have, especially the conversation when Daniel said, "Do you want to team up again?" They have to keep that now. They can't keep going topsy-turvy with their
What's great
relationship.
about Chosen is he's like the best elements of both Johnny and Daniel.
And he can teach so much of Miyagi-Do to Johnny because of the offensive side. And Johnny's gonna be like, "Damn, this is
why am I learning that from painting fences? This guy's much more badass."
Like literally, Chosen is badass. Yeah, like this is the kind of, you might joke like the stuff Daniel teaching was he realized is badass, but this shit is cooler from Chosen.
Badass.
Right,
more up Johnny's kind of alley.
So with the way they go about it, I can see you know just Eagle Fang sort of gravitating towards Miyagi-Do, whilst I think because Daniel is mainly focusing on Cobra Kai, Johnny's trying to focus on getting Miguel.
Yeah,
I think with it makes sense for Robby to be with Johnny in the meantime, but I think those Eagle Fangs will just gravitate towards Miyagi-Do and just because they're all friends.
They'll just be in limbo. Like I don't think Eagle Fang will be completely gone, but I think the problem with season 4 is with too many dojos spoiling the broth. The focus wasn't there because they were like, okay, we're still this dojo, you're still that dojo. But if you have them all under one roof, learning from Chosen, and then Kreese's Civil War doesn't play out well, and then he joins into the mix with Johnny and Daniel, like that's 4 senseis right there. And then I'm going to throw it all the way back to that ending shot I had. The season 3 ending. Let's step it up a little bit. Let's one-up it.
Let's just get more wild and crazy.
You've got Eli, Tori, Dimitri, Sam, Chris, and the usual. Now, I don't know about Kyler. I'm going to redeem Rhea. We'll see what happens.
He just comes in. I'm going to redeem.
He just comes in. Like he'll go where Kreese and Tori go. But imagine this. After all the lessons that we've learned for the last 4 seasons, it culminates in season 5 with Miguel walking in, followed by Robby, followed by Sean, followed by Kenny. And that is your ending for season 5. That's your army. All under one roof, focused.
Imagine just the season 3 ending, but with more people you wanted to see team up. You see a look of Sam and Tori looking at each other, nodding, and maybe Miguel and Robby
of just like
they like both bow together, and all the senseis do this bow, and
because it'll be all the characters, all the kids and the adults that we really care about, like the level of nuance that they've given Sean and Kenny. I could see them over there as well eventually too. They won't just leave them high and dry. With Silver having a whole army of dojos, get all the people that we care about over here and
on that one side, and get all those evil little, as you said, evil Power Rangers,
doppelgangers,
and all these menaces, all these absolute menaces that Jay Jonah would say. Spider-Man is a menace. Get all these menaces on Silver's side that you have no remorse, no sense of
no gray
sympathy,
pure black and white 80s style, no care.
Exactly, and you're gonna feel so relieved because this isn't all about redeeming characters, but it's to bring them together to understand each other. That's what's important here. That goes back to the main lesson: balance. One of the main themes of the show is a lot of characters don't have balance; they're growing, and also, again, it's perspective, point of view, learning from each other. That's a really important thing. There's a few super chats, so before we continue, I'm going to go through quite a few super chats. I think this is Alex.
Hey, my boy Alex.
What is up, Alex?
Person besides me and you that really understands this Robby and Miguel hype. Alex, I love you, bro. You are the man.
What's up, Alex? Robby and Miguel are the Johnny and Daniel of this generation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to think this at the end of all this, these two might be stepbrothers. These two are pretty much their own dojo. You know what's funny? I think me and Jacob said this as a fun, but could happen parallel or theory even, is that Miguel and Robby, imagine in the end of Cobra Kai, end of the series, we see a dojo and Miguel and Robby are there together. Co-senseis, and maybe Johnny walks in as the main and Daniel, or they both just walk out and they're teaching their students. And literally they look at each other and it's sort of like a new brotherhood. And we see a scale of the dojo. We see the students training. We see Johnny and Daniel.
Think of how cool that Chosen and Daniel bow was with Robby and Miguel. Oh,
can you imagine like a dab or a fist bump or some really cool move with Robby and Miguel?
That, because in season 1, what did Robby offer? The hand. This time, that.
You know what? It's funny because the handshake would be the biggest thing. You could see Robby doing that, and then
Yeah.
Miguel. And it's like when Cap and Iron Man had that handshake. You knew it was so significant. Seeing that Robby and Miguel and just seeing them to get,
And it comes all the way back to season 1. It comes full circle when Robby offers his hand. Miguel pulls it down. This time, that.
And in a sense, when Miguel's, said sorry and he stopped, and then Robby continued. Now they both learned from their experiences.
Yep.
They're not going to let shit get worse like Johnny and Daniel. They might even joke about
nip
that.
It in the bud.
Right. Nice to meet you, Alex. I hope to see you around again. Nemesis, thank you so much for the donation. Spaceman Films, do you guys think Silver should die? I thank you for the donation. I think it's the only logical ending. If he gets arrested, he'll just break out. I don't want redemption.
He doesn't need to die, but I think with the way his character is going, I think Silver, if there is one character who I can see going out, I think it'll be Silver, and Kreese will live with that guilt that he Silver's character, I think, is just going to get progressively worse. I think he's just going to descend.
You know what? It's interesting you said that, because I think maybe one of the things about Kreese is he hasn't learned from the lessons he's taught, like that, how it could actually go completely wrong. Because, or for example, him not letting go of the past, like Johnny and Daniel, he brought back Silver. Look what he's done to Silver. It's because he brought him back to all of this. So I think Silver will get worse. And I think there might be a point where Kreese, the more that Silver gets worse, I think they will make Kreese
understand it
have more understanding of what he did. Kind of like how Robby saw the thing with Kenny and he realized the mirror. I think Kreese is now going to see that through Silver, because Silver's the one person he trusts so much. It's more than a brotherhood. It's literally a deep bond between war friends.
Seeing it from Silver's perspective of what he did to him by triggering his PTSD like that, he's like, man, that was my friend and I did that to him. And I think it starts with Tori in the All Valley when he finally sees what he really did to Johnny all those years ago.
Right.
Again, like perspective, point of view.
Yeah.
By seeing that it could happen to Tori again, and he's like, man, oh God, I can't let that happen at all. Like it's literally just that kind of thing playing out again. And you'll see Kreese's guilt this season, like the cinematic shot of him in the car at the end, like internalizing it. I was like, man, that's a deep shot. That's the beginning of him, like, man, I've really screwed up, big time. And
do you know what, Jacob? I can't wait just to see. Not that I don't want to see them getting worse, but I can't wait to see how Kreese will learn this, because he's learning the hard way. Just like how Johnny and Daniel have been, and sort of Miguel and Robby. But look, people make mistakes. Everybody's human in this show. No one's Thanos. No one's a robot. No one's Spider-Man. No one's, although Spider-Man is human. I mean, the show's so grounded in that sense is no matter how high and mighty they may seem with Silver and his how his power and the way he goes about things, he's still human. And look how easy it was for Kreese to bring that trauma back, make him into the person he is,
like that.
And just him getting worse will prove to Kreese, I fucked up.
I screwed up big time.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be like the bruh moment. He's gonna have that moment and be like, wow, I
would love a shot of him in the jail cell just reflecting on what he's done. And the fact that if Silver turns in his best friend, there is no limits to what Silver will do. And Silver's threat to Lawrence, like, he didn't just say Johnny.
I'm gonna look after Lawrence.
Like, he could mean both him and Robby. Like, so this is where that Miguel and Robby have to bury it, because as soon as Robby and Miguel come back, Robby and Johnny come back to the valley, there is a target on the back of their backs.
Right. And you know what? If anything, if Silver tries anything on Miguel and Robby specifically, of course him, any of Daniel's family, anybody that Johnny cares about, and Silver goes that route, Johnny is not going to mess around, and neither is Daniel, neither is Chosen. These guys will probably
Daniel and Robby need a conversation too. That's also a thing.
I mean, they're not going to mess around. Johnny, I think Daniel was going to kill Kreese. He didn't want to, but he was going to end him.
He was willing to go further.
Because remember, that technique was all about using it against invaders that were trying to kill.
Yeah.
It goes back to that war. Like, Chosen was talking about it, the whole techniques. And the new technique
Yeah,
are we yet to see?
we got teased at that. I mean, it's like as we were saying before, like with people changing roles. Like,
Right.
like it's great that Johnny's finally getting that balance to understand points of view. But how heartbreaking would it be to see a scene like I'll relate it to like No Way Home where Peter's beating up Norman. If Daniel like if Daniel does that, like at face value, it's like, oh, that's cool, but like when you see it play out, it'd be heartbreaking because Daniel's done his best to really rise above it and be the better person. To see Daniel fall into that madness pays off Silver's line of, there's always been a bit of Cobra Kai in you, because no matter how good you portray yourself to be, we all have a dark side. You have a dark side, you have a light side. It's just what part you choose to really act on. Harry Potter quote for you. But
love that.
I think seeing like Daniel do that to Silver is going to be indicative of him like switching with Johnny, how Johnny stormed the dojo. This time it might be Daniel, and it'll be like heartbreaking to see because Daniel won't pull any punches. Like Johnny has got his anger out in bursts over the years. Daniel's always repressed it and kept it inward. If he lets it all out, if something happens to Sam or even Miguel now or Robbie,
Amanda, Anthony, any of the, if anything, if one bruise, one scratch on Sam again or Anthony or Amanda, especially people he didn't want ever pulled in. He never wanted Sam pulled in.
He didn't want any of them pulled into this.
That was enough. That was enough with Sam. But with Anthony and Amanda, if he goes for any of the A's, Daniel's going to be literally turning into
whoever done it.
He's going to turn into Chosen, like as in Karate Kid 2 Chosen, where he will fight. He will go and fight Silver to the death.
That switches the position again.
Right. And remember, with Silver, we're trying to not just see him as a villain. The show, again, is trying to show you perspective. They're trying to make you enjoy it. They will try and make us sympathize with him again. They're going to make us sympathize maybe more than we did with Kreese. But what's interesting is, I didn't mention, it's funny how Silver, I know he said he was shedding his weakness by putting Kreese in prison. But you know why I think that was really significant? Is because remember the whole Vietnam thing, how Kreese said, I was your strength in Vietnam. But also, when he spoke about when they were like, prisoners of war, they were in a sense, they were in a prison. And Kreese said to Silver that he was just a pussy. He couldn't do anything in the prison. Ironically, Silver has now put Kreese in that position where he can't do anything.
Yeah, he's
again learning from him perspective. It's a big deal. And again, gotta thank the writers, man. They're just so smart.
The writing on the show is incredible, and it's not just the fact that they just say, okay, character A, character B, 2 seasons of this story. Okay, let's switch them. Like they do it in such a way where it's seamless and it works, and the payoff is flipping insane.
So insane.
Payoff is the best thing about it.
Right, and me and Jacob can't say it enough, but we seriously can't wait to see this team up because with Miguel and Robby, everything is coming full circle.
Everything comes full circle.
When they come around together and team up, all these other things are going on. Sam and Tori, Johnny and Daniel, even more reinforced. The support that Johnny and Daniel are going to bring in, like Chosen, Bobby and Jimmy could come back in to help. Julie, shout out to Evan. You love Julie.
Julie Pierce.
I mean, if RJ comes in and he becomes an asset.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ray J.
Darius too, Mos Def.
Darius, Mos Def, freaking King.
Chris.
I don't know if you give a shit. Yinky Pinky. The list goes on, but
endless.
Oh, TCP. Recreate. She doesn't love you. She loves me. Thank you for the donation. And
I'll just pretend like
I have to be Miguel. You have to be Robby. So she doesn't love you. She loves me. Okay. Wait. We have to.
Got to do this.
If only we could like recreate the kick.
Yeah.
And I'm just like.
Maybe like you sort of look like you're kicking, and then I dodge. So like it goes like here.
I can't kick. I'm not going to hit my desk in my green screen. I'm going to pretend. I'm going to make a noise.
Right. Okay. So I'll try my best to work with it.
Like I'm about to break that railing. When Robby dodges it. Okay.
Yeah.
Bing.
Right.
3, 2, 1.
Go.
She doesn't love you. She loves me. I was laughing, but
That's
literally
about
Miguel's
as close
face.
as I can get it. Otherwise, I'm gonna break my laptop.
You know what? We should have done the guy in the Meagle. She doesn't love me. She loves me.
She doesn't love. Yeah, she doesn't love me. She loves me.
GCK, I hope that made your day.
I hope that justifies it.
Go and
Shout
tell
out
your
to
school
GCK.
friends about it.
Yeah.
And just
And fall out a chair again.
Lisa, thank you
All right,
so
bro.
much for the donation, and
Shout out
thank
to you,
you
Lisa.
for tuning in and being an absolute legend. You're always in the streams. You're always in every interview I'm doing. I really appreciate your support, Lisa. She is the real one, guys. So shout out to Lisa.
If more people were like Lisa, the world would be a much better place.
If you guys can just be nuanced, that's the main thing. And
that's the main thing.
There's no need to argue and bicker about things. Just debate them. And
it's just like calm down.
On. The whole Johnny, I mean, the whole Miguel and Robbie stuff. Like, look, me and Jacob, I was Miguel, he was Robbie at first, but now we both love them both, and
that's what it's
about. The thing. We understand them.
Yeah.
Alex again. Thank you for another donation, Alex. They are both the Karate Kid of this show. Sometimes they focus on Miguel as a Karate Kid, sometimes they focus on Robbie as a Karate Kid. They're both Karate prodigies for that's you couldn't have put it better. They are literally 50-50. So you've got what Daniel is the whole Karate Kid. You've got two Karate Kids, and when they come together, what does that create? Another Karate Kid in itself. They've got elements of a Karate Kid, but when they come together, it truly begins.
Yeah, facts, absolutely. Well said.
Any other super chats? Well, we could take some questions.
My house is a shithole. Yeah, this is what I have cereal with water. Cut me some slack. Like, I'm working on it.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions for me and Jacob, we're gonna take some of those. I know you got those super chats were pretty much questions as well. But if you guys want to,
and everyone, make sure you smash the like button immediately if you haven't. This dude is an absolute legend. I tell you, there's no one that has inspired me more on this space than this guy. So everyone, raise any
appreciate that, man.
Familiar, raise a pint to this man right here.
Thank you, bro. Cheers. I really appreciate what you do, Jacob. Like, I don't think you guys know, but before I even started YouTube, and I started my Shamoon Reacts channel, Jacob was one of the very first channels I found. And I remember just reading your description about what you were a fan of. It said Cobra Kai, it said Marvel, it said Transformers, it said Fast and Furious, it said so much other stuff.
Family.
Fast and Furious, like, I mean, I haven't met anybody that's kind of into the exact same thing. Fandom. So I'm very glad to meet you, Jacob. And
you, man.
Fucking so glad we finally collabed on this. By the way, we're not signing out or anything. I don't.
we're not signing out. You all thought we were finished. No. We haven't even got past the post-credit scenes yet. Like this is slow your roll. But it's not only are we carrying the UK in terms of Cobra Kai representation, but it's just I think the level of nuance and just to say, I mean, Chelsea got the win today.
Get in!
Champions.
But honestly, this is, by the way, I said this to Jacob. So obviously, both me and Jacob are Chelsea fans. That's another thing. Forgot to mention, and obviously we're both English. We didn't know that Chelsea were playing in a final today, the Club World Cup, and they won on the same day. As Chelsea fans, we're doing a collab together. We didn't know about the date.
And again,
talking about team up, the impact.
The best thing about this is like we could have done it way earlier, but picking the right time for this specific kind of live stream was so important. And it's perfect. I mean, look at this design that Shamoon's made. Look at this. It's perfect. And then we even got the colors right. Miyagi-Do, Eagle Fang. It works. Oh, wait. Hang on. Let me just check my audio.
Oh, wait, sorry, that was my end. I was saying, it's red on my side.
It doesn't love you, it loves me.
I just realized it's red on my side, and Miguel's wearing the red gi, and then Robbie's wearing the white gi, and you're wearing all white.
I mean, visual cues, anyone? Anyone picking up on the visual nuances, the little idiosyncrasies?
Remember what Frank Helmer, the costume designer, said? He says there's loads of little details. You just have to find it.
You just have to pay attention and look at the characters. Look at the colors the characters are wearing in season 4. Very indicative.
Exactly. Wow, Alex, you're being generous today.
Alex, you're the man.
Thank you for another donation. Johnny and Daniel believe that Roy Miguel will surpass him for a reason. I love the storyline between these two because Roy Miguel are one of, if not the main storyline, do this show. Couldn't agree more, Jacob.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Alex, you are the man, sir. Like, honestly, can everyone of my chosen family raise a pint to Alex? Like, Alex is the only one besides me and Shamoon that gets it with these two characters and where it's going. I'm telling you, look, you ain't ready. And when it happens in season 5, you're gonna be like, man, shit, those guys were right. I'm like, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Love that.
Badass.
What's up, Rashid Taki? This guy's an absolute legend. When's the next double bill, Shamoon and Jacob? Look, me and Jacob are definitely gonna do more in the future.
Oh, that's a shipping name. There you go, Jacob.
Jacob, I love that. We will. I mean, we will definitely do more, a lot more in the future because I've been wanting to have Jacob on for a while. I've been on Jacob's Kings of Pop Culture streams a few times, although we don't talk one-to-one much, you know, it's more so we're just
if you guys are a fan of like just general humor, like trust me and Shamoon bring it, and the other guys, like, you'll love it. It's just fun.
Yeah, so when you do get the chance, check out Jacob's channel for Kings of Pop Culture because they cover pop culture as a whole. Obviously, Jacob doesn't just focus on Cobra Kai. He does Marvel, he does Transformers, he does everything. Star Wars, he's a big Star Wars fan. So definitely check him out when you get the chance. And yeah, if you haven't smashed the like button already, I'm gonna come over there and show you no mercy.
We're gonna come over there.
I will. I'll literally. I'm gonna leave right now. I'm on my way.
I'll see you there in 5. That's what
I'm gonna be outside.
Like, hey, bro, I got problems with Trey and Cruz. Hey, let's go beat him up. Let's have a laugh. You know, like,
I'm gonna be outside.
Miguel were beating that. I think it was Mikey. They were beating that one guy up in the forest. Like Robbie Miguel beating Trey and Cruz up like that.
Oh my god! If we see Robbie Miguel going like, "Your turn, bro. Your turn, step brother,
bro." And then the family gathering when they're all having creases cutting the turkey. You know, it's a big like Toretto style barbecue. It's like, so how did you two meet? He kicked me over a railing after he said she doesn't love you, she loves me, and it was a big sort of she doesn't love you, she loves me situation.
Oh, I love that. She doesn't love you, she loves me. By the way, if you see any questions, or if I've missed anything like right now, just let me know and I'll pin them. We'll get through some questions now because I know you guys have probably been wondering, like, can you answer my question?
But, answer that question.
We will get to them because I've seen a lot of people asking stuff. Okay. I saw a very good suggestion, which I will get to first, from Jim Tim, saying you should do the same discussion with Sam and Tori, maybe Anthony and Kenny. I think we've just decided the next double bill of Jacob and Shamoon.
I think this is the post-credit scene for Jamoon number 2.
Jamoon
or Jacob. Chosen Nation.
We said that before. Chosen Nation works. It works. I love it. I definitely think that would make this a regular thing. Honestly, we could. It would work quite well with me and Jacob. Because obviously we're in the same region. So we could definitely do that in the future for sure. We'll definitely think of what else we do. I love this. What's up, Juliana?
Juliana, shout out to Down Under.
Shout out. Big shout out.
Yeah, that's a Down Under.
I love this. We need to tweet John Hurwitz against Shamoon and Jacob County.
Yes. I'll pay to fly us both out there. Like,
listen, John, I don't care about the cost.
I'll gladly get beaten up. I'm good.
You know, I'll go right now if I have to.
Right now.
If season 6 is happening right now, listen.
I wore this stupid hat for nothing.
That would be amazing. Damn, what would it mean to you, Jacob, if you were in just a season of Cobra Kai and just had a cameo? Because for me, that's the biggest thing I'd ever do in my life.
I think you can relate with this so much. Is it would be like once in a lifetime. Like, there's gonna come a point when both of us are like 80 years old, reflecting on Cobra Kai. You remember when we used to talk Cobra Kai? Yeah, back when it was the raid, back in my day when it was the raid. And we got a cameo in that show, and then we show it to like generations ahead, and they're like, "Oh wow, you got beaten up." Yes, I did. Like it would honestly mean the world to be in it. Like
yeah. What would be crazy is
with everything that the show's given us. Like
the fact is, if it did happen as well, just the fact me and you started on here, just talking about it as fans and really getting into it, and to have a cameo, that's character development right there in itself. To have a cameo,
character development. I mean, Eli, who?
Yeah, you know what? The real life, if Miguel and Robby was a real team up, and it was this Cobra Kai was a real story, this is all real and happening. That for me would be that moment when they come together. That's how it would feel if me and Jacob were involved in the show for like a cameo. It would,
yeah.
I would never, every freaking video and stream, I'm gonna be like
rubbing it in. Gonna be just be like, so thank you for watching today's video. By the way, I also cameoed in Cobra Kai. I don't want to flex, but
listen, I couldn't. I would have man tears. I'd be crying if I was in the show because that would mean that much to me. I don't care how cringy that might sound to people, but listen, that's what passion is.
That's what passion is.
You know, I'm not passion like a pint of Stella, and someone's like, okay, what like that. I'm actually very passionate about this. Okay, we got Tristan, Tristan Mireles. CK and Jacob, do you guys think Miguel and Robby might throw down before they team up in Mexico? I think
it's possible, but I feel like.
What does he mean by throwdown? Do you mean just like a little bit of a tense moment between each other rather than like hitting each other?
We need context and nuance here. Like, do you mean like full-on fight or just little scuffle or just tension, like pure tension? So put that into the chat, Tristan. Because if it's like a full-on fight, I don't see that. If it's a bit of a tiff, maybe.
Bit of a tiff in English terms basically means, a little bit of a, not a scrap is like a fight, but...
Think of Brian and Tyrese in Too Far.
Yeah, exactly. Just tension. It's kind of like, it's aggression, but it's not, you're not being physical. It's just more verbal.
Yeah. Strike.
I need to get to some... just reading... I played soccer, football 15 years. Wow.
Nice.
Pretty cool, bro. I'm wondering what position you played and if you were any good.
What position?
Yeah, we want to know.
We want to know.
L Turner, what's up? Did you notice that there was a second scroll with Miyagi-Do Pressure Point in Chosen's Dojo in Okinawa? Was that the scroll that he ended up giving to...
That the one that Anthony...
Yeah, is that the scroll that's the one he gave Daniel? I'm curious if it's that. If it... I'm going to have to have a look, actually, like rewatch that scene. Because if it's wrapped up in the same way, then I'm going to assume it was that. I could be wrong, though. Let's see. Well, oh my god, there's actually quite a few questions.
Oh yeah, it's quite a few. Oh, right.
Okay, the cameo one, we did answer that.
We'll be right back in just a second because I'm going to travel to Mexico.
While he's traveling to Mexico, I will check out your questions, guys. I will full screen myself, no mercy. I'll bring Jacob on when he's ready. It's me again. Do you think we'll get evil doppelgangers of Robby and Miguel, Jacob and Shmoon? Well, if we are the evil doppelgangers, that'd be quite funny. I mean, that'd be really cool. Oh, that would be amazing. What? For your niece, like Sam kicked her at the pool boy over her. Your niece is funny, Rash. That's funny. That is pretty good. I love that.
Step brother,
you're back. You're back.
Back in town. Oh, well, not back in town. I've arrived in Mexico. Come to get you, sir.
Oh, this is a great question, and I totally think this will happen. Do you think Anthony's friends will be Kenny's friends? Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why. Because now that Kenny has proven himself to be a fighter in Cobra Kai, especially them winning it again, everybody in the valley is going to be like, I want to take up karate again. Especially that Cobra Kai won it twice now. All these younger kids, such as Anthony's friends, are going to think Cobra Kai is better than Lapusso's karate because he didn't use any of that karate that he was saying about his dad had.
Shit.
Right. I think his friends, I think Zach, I think all of those guys, Anthony's friends are going to be friends with Kenny, and Kenny's going to be the main bully of Anthony. And I think Anthony will become the bullied kid, understanding what Daniel went through. Yeah. And I also think they will possibly join Cobra Kai as well with Kenny, because he might be like, you boys should join, or he might just be people he's friends with in school and they just want to learn karate from him,
Yeah. They'll definitely do the Freddy thing of where they're like, oh yeah, you're cool, gets beaten up, and they're like, oh yeah, you're not cool. Shows up at the All Valley, yeah, you're cool. It's like, huh?
Oh, that's an interesting one. They're the Freddy Fernandez. Listen, if one of those kids is related to Freddy Fernandez, it's in their bloodline to betray.
Yeah, it's in their blood. Don't need no nuance for that. There's no nuance or context or real story, any great story reason. It's just just a dick. All it is.
Oh my god! This made me laugh. It should have made a comic and do a live stream interviewing himself. How would that work? I'd have to do like a skit.
Shamoon. 2 Shamoons.
I would honestly have to do a skit. Strike.
Take a sabbatical.
What's up, Strikey boy? Round of applause for these 2 King Dry, my brothers from across the pond. I appreciate that, Strikey boy. Listen, if you ever come here, you can we'll definitely have to grab a drink, my friend. It won't be Coors Banquet though.
No,
because we don't really have Coors Banquet here. So you're gonna be
do that here.
It's not a bad drink from what I've heard, but
nah, we gotta get you a real pint.
I had to let Jacob say that because he's
gotta get you a real pint. Guy. Proper pint. Or a bottle of Corona, as Dom would say. If you know, you know.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just reading more questions. Someone keeps saying to debate you about Robby.
I just want to say, hold on.
I mean, I'm not gonna listen. We're not doing any of that. So, Aaron, mate,
you stand an equal chance at winning. A debate isn't just Robby's this, that, whatever. It's like, no, you're missing the point. The nuance is bleeding off the screen here. We've just given you an hour and 36 minutes of Miguel and the context to back it up. You can't keep missing the point. It's right there.
It's right there. You're just gonna have to take the high ground.
So important.
Okay, Strike got a good question for both of us. So he says, am I going to get my hair cut anytime soon to go back to season 1 Miguel? I don't think I've ever season 1 Miguel my hair, even when I had it shorter. I actually will. I am cutting my hair soon, though. And I plan to do it on the season 4 Miguel look. Because I can still keep my hair a little bit long, but
you can grow
it'll be much shorter. And he asked Jacob, going to get a cut and be season 3 Robby? Or season 4 Robby?
Season 4 Robby. I'm sure I can pull it off. It's just I do like the flowing locks. Like it's just it's like that thought thing of no, you will not cut my hair. It's just
okay. I'll make a deal with. I'll make this interesting. All right. If we get 1,000,
you're going to go in season 5. This is where it's going.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe 1,000 might be a big ask. If we get at least 700 likes on this stream, me and Jacob. Wait, do you want to do 700 likes or more?
I say 800.
If we get 800 likes on the stream, me and Jacob, Jacob is more, he's undecided. I'm definitely getting a haircut, but Jacob will get the haircut.
If we get up point here to 800 likes, then that hair right there.
I'm serious. And, I'll keep this going until, let's say, I don't know, a few days. And if we don't hit it in a few days, then...
Few days to spread the word. Robbie and Miguel team. I mean, not only do you get a reward for tuning in, you get answering questions, you get time with us lovely gents, especially this guy. You get Robbie and Miguel nuance, you get insight into season 5. I mean, as I said, that's what we do. It's. Woo! Well, I'll throw it out to the. I said in one of my videos that Robbie has like the, and I'm shout out to Alex and the Knights. They mentioned this to me that I said Robbie has the heart of a Miyagi-Do and the blood of a cobra, and I was like, oh, that's good.
I love that.
And I said it in the following video. I was like, woo!
I would be the same. I'd be like, oh, spine chilling, Ava Hunt. I feel like season 5 is going to be the most emotional season yet. Couldn't agree more there, right? That was
keep stepping up each season.
Each and every
season. And the score for it is on point.
Oh, I have to say the score for season 4 was amazing. I love, what I've been listening to the most though? Three-Headed Snake. When
that one's good.
Silver and Johnny fight. And I literally, in my mind, I'm thinking of when Silver's going, Asa! And then I'm thinking when Johnny's like, Aya!
Aya!
I love it. And then Kreese is just there watching. Like, where's his popcorn?
To come here? He's like, whoa! Looks like LaRusso taught him some defense. Okay, pretty boy. Let's
go. I'm not going to lie, but I'm hoping other people thought this. That I love how we're saying this is about the season being emotional. We're talking about... I have to quickly say this, Ava, sorry, but that scene with Silver, he goes, let's go. I honestly thought it sounded like Tony Montana. It sounded so much like him.
Almost like identical. It was just let's go.
But yeah, season 5 will definitely be most emotional. Since Robbie and Miguel coming together, that's emotional in itself. And especially if they're coming stepbrothers in the future, that's going to be really like, there will probably be a moment where they get close to tears or cry, and there's like, I can't believe we're going to be brothers or something, and they just hug or something.
Yeah. Seems crazy to believe, like, given, like, it would have been crazy to think that's possible, like, season 1, 2, or 3, but with the way season 4's gone, it's going to happen eventually. Eventually. When Carmen and Johnny get married and tie the knot.
And you know what's... I love that. That was Rhodey, right? Endgame, remember that? You know what's funny? To kind of bounce off that, Ahmed Khalaf was actually asking this, what we were just answering. I honestly think the marriage is going to be... I can't remember exactly who said it, but I think I agree with it. I definitely see it the same way, that a marriage is going to be sort of the sweet ending to the series, where it sets off other spin-offs, right? And it kind of just shows you the resolutions with all the arcs, everybody coming together to this wedding, and just... those two getting married, and it just shows everybody that's there.
Yeah.
It's more important than karate. It's really about how it brought everybody together.
Yeah. I mean, the karate is a great selling point of this show, and even Karate Kid and the story, but it's the characters that keep it.
Right.
Yeah. And they don't just rely on legacy. Like, look at the new characters they brought in. Hell yeah. Like, I mean, that was such a good job.
It's amazing, right?
Oh, it really is. Especially in the world that we live in with the shows that we get nowadays. Like, I mean, wow.
You're spot on there. I'm actually kind of behind on... I'm kind of behind on all of this, all these questions. If you see any questions, Jacob, let me know. Just trying to look. Will I do a Q&A when I get 50K? Yeah, Lisa, I will do one. I'll be honest, I've been so behind on the specials because when we hit 20K, I planned on something to do an interview, but you guys just kept going crazy with my growth and kept supporting me and being awesome while season 4 dropped, and I couldn't keep up with it.
You deserve, man. You've been steamrolling it up onto 50K, man. You're almost there. Like, could you imagine when you do that, you're like 50?
It's all because of you guys. It really is. And people like Jacob supporting and stuff like that. Yeah, and, Drew, all the other guys I've collabed with, you guys have all been part of my journey. It's been, honestly, man, it's so fun. And enjoying every minute.
It's as I said, like, to everyone the other day, and I'm sure like you can relate to this too. It's great having a space to talk about it, but it's even better having a space to talk about it with people that have the same kind of passion. Like, although there are some eggs in the basket where it's like, okay, you fell a little bit too far from the Easter Bunny. I don't know where it came from.
I love that.
Like, there's there is nuance to be had in context and discussions with people all around the globe that really relate to these characters and this story, where you can talk about it and then branch out into other things. And it's just it's amazing, the community aspect of it.
Oh, I totally agree with the community aspect, because I wouldn't have met people like yourself, Drew reaching out, and all these other creators I've
I
spoken
wouldn't have met the
to,
Kings,
and even TCK. Like, I think
right?
he was nerdy films before he made TC Talking Cobra Kai, and I didn't even know he was going to start a channel, which is really cool. And just how I first started from my other channel, it's just nice to know. Like, I remember seeing you as one of the first UK channels that was like someone that was kind of very similar to me, and I was like, that's really cool. But that's the important thing. I'm just so grateful to have this platform, to be able to spread the love about this passion and just talk to other people about it, have nuanced discussions.
And you're the best at it, man. It's 50K. Like,
appreciate it, bro.
Bro,
talking about being fucking good. I can't say it enough, but you go into such detail with your videos. I love it when the style is really cool. It's like you can watch it and really tune into what you're saying, and it's not baloney or just waffle. You actually really break it down. And I think if you guys really want to hear, like, Jacob, when he goes into videos, breaks them down with all the categories of, the talking points of Cobra Kai, and just generally, if it's a video about Robby Miguel, honestly, watch him, because Jacob is one of the best at doing that. And I don't get it, man, how the fuck you're not at 10K. I understand I know you're like a broad channel, you cover more than Cobra Kai, but guys, we need to get this man to take. I don't get how this channel's out there that I'm like, how the fuck are they on the amount they are? And then there's you, and I'm like, yeah, how the fuck is this guy not on at least 10K with the content you do is so good? And you put so much effort in. Like, come on, guys, we gotta help him.
Thank you, man.
Go and subscribe to him now.
Oh god, hey, look what Rush Taki's just made me.
Wait, and edit. Oh god.
That's gold. That's sick.
I love that, actually. I thought for a second your eyes looked a bit swollen, but that actually
I punched in the side, but I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like the way he's like used the hands, got the chain around. Hey, that's sick, Rash. Thank you, bro.
That's an interesting one. This has got a good question in, Jacob. How will Sam feel about Robby and Tori dating since she scolded Miguel for dating her in season 2? Well, Sam is kind of already reacted to that, right? In season 4.
Yeah.
In season 5, I don't think Sam is. Well, we only saw her, like, crying and going back inside her house. That scene at the end of season 4. That's actually the last shot of her. And season 5, it is kind of interesting how they go about it. Is she going to get worse, or is she going to come to an understanding? Like, because Tori was
a party kind of fight. I think that will give us an idea as to where it will go. Like Tori and Robby, they went there with the intention to aggravate and cause problems. But I think initially, or not initially, I think going forward, what might happen is you'll just see stuff like that. It'll just be like, yeah, remember when that happened? Yeah. And if anything, the Ali and Johnny and Daniel situation should teach these guys, look, you don't have to hate someone just because you're not with them anymore. You can still have enough love in your heart to where it's like, okay, you're on your journey now. What we had together was awesome, but we're separately now, and coming to that kind of understanding, I think is important. But Sam in particular had to go through that this season. So it's like, was that the reason you've been staring at her all night? Oh, let's not talk about the moment you have with Robby, like getting over that kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Sam. You know what I find interesting? I know there's a big theory. We have to discuss it. Some people think Sam could join Cobra Kai. I can see that happening if they go that whole Karate Kid 3 route, like with Daniel. But I'll tell you why. Another reason I think it's only possible.
Yeah.
And this is a full circle moment that starts with Terry Silver when he said to Daniel in episode 6, "There's always been a little Cobra Kai in you." And you know what's interesting? Sam's always had this aggression, maybe.
Yeah, she like has the tendency to strike first. Like, I think out of the two kids, like, Anthony will be more in line with the Miyagi-Do legacy. Yeah. I think Sam has such an inclination to, like in the arcade fight, like she loves it. Like,
remember even in season 1, remember when she went up to Kyler and she was about to fight him?
if Miguel didn't step in, she was about to put a beat down on him.
And you know what's interesting? It's just funny because now I know it's still a crazy theory if Sam doesn't end up joining Cobra Kai because of the way they've gone about her
never
arc.
say never, but I
never
think
say never. Yeah.
I think the turning moment is Robby and Cobra Kai. I think that's the dark side twist. I think they'll leave that as it is just to not cheapen it.
I think that there's always been a little Cobra Kai in you would come full circle from Terry saying it to Daniel and sort of foreshadowing Sam joining. But that would be only if they go that route with Sam.
Only
then
if
that quote is kind of teasing that. But
they could still do it, but it would have to be earned. Like with I think if you were going to have Sam go Cobra Kai, it would have had to been season 4, like just because of like her embracing that other legacy and that other side.
Right. And that could have happened mid-season where she's like fed up of the whole Daniel Johnny stuff, them not getting on. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to learn offense from one place that could just teach me it purely without any of this bullshit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's how they could have gone about it. But that would have been probably more shocking than the whole debacle with Daniel Johnny, like breaking up the team up and stuff.
I mean, yeah. I mean, never say never. There's been things in the show that have like shocked us and stuff, but I don't see it happening.
Okay, Juliana's got a very good question. Who do you think will learn the most from Chosen? I personally think Anthony because he's so new to this.
Yes. You see, guys, go ahead, Shamoon.
So, wait, what were you going to say first? Because
I was going to say that Anthony, out of every kid, like as much as Eli and Robby and Miguel and Sam, like they could all learn from Chosen. The one thing Anthony needs in his life is discipline. He needs discipline, and he needs someone to really put him in check. And
I'm just trying to imagine Chosen disciplining him.
Like, I mean, you know, Daniel's starting to. Full credit to Johnny, again, switching the roles there. But a person like Chosen ain't going to take Anthony's crap. He's just going to say, we do not honor bet if you can't even live up to it. You know, he's gonna say, you get in there now. Like, he's going to be really... And I think that's where Anthony will shine, is... For the past 4 seasons, Anthony has been a real jerk, a real jerk. And I think that's indicative of where he's going to go. And I think Chosen might be an absolute key centerpiece of that. Because Chosen ain't playing no games. He don't care. He'll just tell you to go over there. I don't care. That's mostly what I think, is that Chosen would really benefit Anthony.
Do you know why I think
Anthony was looking at the scroll?
That teased it, and also just him being more involved in Miyagi-Do karate and with Daniel, especially what's going on with Sam. Like, I think can't remember who said it, but I do see it happening because Sam might take a bit of a break from karate again. She might be like, you know what?
Sort of like Eli did, where he was just like, I'm not doing karate.
Yeah, and Anthony ends up bringing in maybe Anthony's either he gets hurt or I was saying this the other day actually with you and the lads, like. If Sam saves Anthony and he gets bombarded by his own friends, and Kenny's about to do the Johnny, and then Sam comes in and like beats them all up because they'll be like kids, and you could see that happening. But if Anthony was training and getting good, and Sam like kind of just saw him being a bit rusty in the training, she might be like, "Sort out your foot."
That's just not,
like you just see the sister in her coming out and kind of that.
Yes, because if she's not focused on that, she might just focus on Anthony.
Because Anthony hasn't done anything to her personally, like
no,
apart from the time he snitched on her.
Other than that, I thought you were smarter than that. Other than that, that's it. So it'd be nice to see some sister-brother bonding.
Right, and also imagine Chosen teaching. Just Anthony, just like the way he would go about it.
Exactly what we were saying earlier, that I genuinely think as much as Sam is, Daniel's daughter and the LaRusso heir, I think Anthony is the one that's going to be more in line for the Miyagi-Do legacy. I think Sam's very kind of free-spirited, like a bit of both.
Right, and she's kind of, in a sense, she's kind of got the riches that Johnny had when he was growing up because of Sid.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Of her, but even though that's a stepdad, just the fact that his father was... loaded, and he has the riches, and Daniel does with the Russo Auto. He's done very well for himself, very wealthy. Sam's had it in that way. She's got that privilege, right?
Yeah.
And she's kind of got that side that she's we've kind of seen come embrace because of Johnny, and she's embracing that with her journey. And again, the balance is coming together with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think. What I find interesting about this Chosen Anthony dynamic, though, is Anthony and Chosen is sort of like Daniel and Miyagi, but the next generation Miyagi and the next generation Daniel. It's basically the new Daniel in a sense of him having a Miyagi, and Chosen being the new Miyagi. He knows like so much. And why that interests me is, remember Daniel and Miyagi when they first met? They didn't know, there was no connection. They met each other just like
they didn't know each other from Adam.
Right. Chosen doesn't know Anthony at all. Anthony doesn't know Chosen at all. It's like they're complete strangers to each other, and the way they come together and learn. And just imagine Chosen teaching Anthony, just seeing the scenes, like the montage, like when Daniel goes, when Miyagi first goes, show me, wax on, wax off, and because Daniel's like, oh, you're scamming me, you're not teaching me any lessons. Imagine Chosen and Anthony having these moments.
It's going to be like Chosen is the one dude that can really put Anthony into shit. Like, I mean, Johnny and Daniel can too, but I think for me, the way the characters have gone, I think Anthony would be such a great fit for Chosen. I think Chosen would get him into fighting shape. And I think this season, you're going to have a situation where Sean's comment at the top is you're going to see, and it's surprising, you may start to root for Anthony this season. You may start to.
Character development.
And it's all part of his long-term arc. Again, this is Robby and Miguel are the example. Listen to what we said about those two. I'm telling you, Anthony is up next. He's up next. Starts out as the little annoying git that no one likes.
The thing is, his arc is definitely getting into that. Oh, I love that. His arc is definitely getting into that territory now where he's old enough so they can, I mean, not just in terms of the actor, but the character in the story is more relevant now because he's not that young. And he can deal with the maturity of growing up and just trying to understand life. Like, he can consciously do that now. And I think that's the perfect time. And also the arcs we've already had. Because it's kind of like the Robby thing again. People didn't like Robby from the start, but I think people are going to grow to like Anthony. And, with Kenny, it's like you might like him from the start and then might like to dislike him now the way he is. I think Anthony and Kenny is sort of like the next Robby and Miguel,
Yeah.
Miguel and Robby is the next Johnny Daniel.
Center stage, and they needed to have a new rivalry because rivalries are now about to be buried. Like, they need one to sort of have like two sides of the fence kind of thing, and it's not forced. Like, it feels earned. But I think that rivalry will take center stage in terms of rivalries.
Right. Yeah. I honestly think the rivalries are something that obviously play a big role in any season of Cobra Kai, and each season there will be a rivalry. Even if there's feud that's done and dusted, there will be new characters that come in with feud. That's how the arcs kind of go, so to speak. And it's part of the karate and the rivalry, but it's kind of different now. It's kind of going back to it being more personal, like Kenny being bullied, not because of karate or
it was like rivalry. The karate is like it plays secondary to the actual plot of what's going on. Like, it's great for us to watch, but the reason we're so invested in it is not just because it's like a relatable story, but because the characters, what they go through is the foundation. It's not just it's the stuff that leads into that, and the karate is how they deal with it. And
it's kind of like when, let's say, all the story, all the character, all the arcs, everything in that sense is the engine, right? Karate is the petrol.
Yes.
Not gas like you Americans say. It's petrol.
It's petrol.
It's the petrol to the engine. So it's like that's what karate is. And once the karate's in, the engine can
engine can run smoothly without any problems. The good thing is, the simplest things can cause the biggest problems. Good news is, you swap out a bad part, everything runs smooth as silk again. Fast 6 seconds.
We got Jacob. You will not believe who just entered the stream. This absolute schmuck. This absolute schmuck, RJ Strahan.
Robby,
you're not the GOAT,
Miguel,
my friend. Sam Kenny. Is not the GOAT.
I don't know what you're on about. Sam is the GOAT.
Do you know what? I know why you say Sam is the GOAT. Because I know you like Mary, but she's not the GOAT, bro. Do you know who the GOAT is?
You know who the GOAT is?
The two guys you're looking at.
Two guys you're looking at.
I'm not talking about me and Jacob. I'm talking about Miguel and Robby.
Yeah, forget Sam for a minute.
Love you, RJ.
Love you, RJ.
But you're wrong. Okay.
The ability to speak does not make one intelligent. I'll just throw that out there.
RJ, you keep saying about Sam, I'm going to time you out.
Sam is the goat spamming. Stop spamming the comments section.
Okay.
Hour of the
Okay,
goats.
we'll go to the 2 hour mark. So we'll take, I guess, one more question.
Yep.
Any questions that
wow.
Okay, I think we have. Oh, I did start some that we can go through.
Sure.
Let's
Darius in the chat as well. Shout out to you, Darius.
Our city member, what's good, Daddy is. Let's place bets as to what's going to happen in season 5. Can we place our bets and put money towards? Hey, we ain't gambling here, okay? It's too early.
We don't promote that here.
We don't promote gambling. Do not gamble, kids.
Do I like email
don't
you?
Do it. Sorry, but do not. Alterna, we're not gambling, okay?
Yeah, we don't do that.
You can do that with a friend, before season 5. Okay, yeah. I bet £50.
Go negotiate, shoot some hoops, that kind of stuff. Talk shop.
Shoot your shot, it's worth it.
Shot, all that kind of jazz.
Okay, Anthony Molina. Read the name.
Alfred Molina.
Anthony Molina. Anthony
Molina.
Russo / Alfred Molina equals
hybrid.
Anthony Molina.
Double whammy.
Let's just say another. And he's also given us some crazy villainous question. What if Miguel joined Cobra Kai? What do you think can happen? Okay, if I join Cobra Kai, this is what's going to happen.
Oh, you got the headband. Hey. But with the way season 5 is going to play out,
that's what's going to happen if Miguel joins Cobra Kai, all right? I'm going to put this back on. I like the red.
This is what will happen if it happens now.
If Robbie goes back.
Yep. Double team.
Robbie creates Robbie Kai.
Keene Kai.
Keene Kai. Bully Keene.
Shout out to TCK. That was TC, and I want to give TCK the plug. TCK invented that. No one else. Bully Keene comes from him.
I didn't actually know who made that. I honestly thought it was a thing. So fair play at TCK.
It was in one of my chosen lives. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if Robbie was just like Billy Maguire, just going around being a real thug, and then he just made the meme. It was perfect.
That's so funny.
He's like, you know what the meme said? He was like, I'm gonna put some foot in your eye.
I'm gonna take your father away. Do you know what I find funny though? Is Bert and Nate kind of turned into Bully Maguire in season 4?
Oh yeah. What makes you think you can wear a shirt like that around here?
All right, look what we have here. And Bert says, "I think he's gonna cry." To Kenny.
Yeah, it's like so funny. Forgotten that you were thrown through a window last season, and you were beat. They kicked the minute out of me.
He gets so cocky, man. It's funny. Okay, this is a good question. Miguel and Robbie team. Well, become friends. How Eli?
I just wanted to mention this earlier.
Eli and Robbie
Bertrand mentioned unexpected team up. So I think.
How did we not mention that shit? Yeah, that more evidence.
The catalyst for it, right, is that bow. The bow between both of them is exactly where it starts, and the reason is that despite everything Robbie has done to Eli, this is where Miyagi-Do has balanced Eli. Eli completely understands what Robbie is going through because he has done similar things. He's broke his best friend's arm, nearly beat a guy to death, gone against his own friends. He completely gets it, and he is the bigger person of the situation by bowing. And Eli drove home Robbie's redemption even more because of that bow. And then Robbie bowed instantly right back, bringing him back to his season 1 self, going to Silver. And Silver's like, this fight should be over by now. Do you want to fight him? And in that moment, it's not just, oh, do you want to fight him being cocky and being Lawrence's son? He respects Eli, that Eli has come this far to go toe-to-toe with him. And those two are pound for pound the most aggressive fighters in the show. You put them two on the same page as well? Whoo! Especially with the defense that Eli's got now. I mean, their fight was sick. Oh.
You know what? I think they had the best fight I've ever seen in Cobra Kai, in terms of the younger characters. I remember the Miguel Hawk fight in season 2, and then the other fights throughout season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think that's got to be the
in
best
that
fight between the
level.
youngsters because it was so neck and neck, and obviously both had got so skilled with more knowledge on both styles,
Yeah,
and I
there's
loved
literally
it.
moments in the fight where they're literally countering the same way as each other when they're there, like holding each other like that, when they're like that, like, and you can see them mid move, switching moves
Yeah,
and flipping
I
moves. Like
love that as well because it's like
they're
when Daniel
countering the
said,
counters.
use what you've learned from Sensei Lawrence and myself, like,
Yeah,
whenever you feel. And I love the she does a tornado kick, and then she does a Miyagi-Do and does the Karate Kid 3 thing. I love it. And
for the first
with
time since
Eli, when
1985, sudden death overtime. Oh,
since 85 as well, the chills for Karate Kid 3
two
vibes.
best fighters to give it to.
And I love it came in that way, and it's just the nod and respect they had for each other because Robbie was respecting Miguel and Hawk during the tournament. Remember I told you that nod?
There's
Or
a
that look?
nod.
Robbie gave that nod to Miguel during the
Blinked and
tournament.
missed it. When
He was
Miguel
like,
beats his opponent in the montage,
I
Robbie's like,
don't know if it is the same kick, but the kick that Miguel uses, I thought that Robbie did the same kick to Kenny in his fight. And I don't know if he was inspired by what Miguel did.
this is what I was
That's why he
saying
was kind of like,
the other day. Karen, you finish your point and I'll go on mine.
no, so like, yeah, it was pretty much this moment they had, like we were saying, and
Yeah, like an exchange.
there's a kick that Robbie does, and I'm gonna have a look.
It's the same. I have to have a look at that. And
Yeah.
speaking of like the same moves, this is what we were talking about, like parallels and full circles. Is even though Eli's in Miyagi-Do, he actually uses a Johnny move to win. And the Johnny move he uses, if you think back to the mid-season finale or just mid-season, when Daniel does the pressure points on Johnny and Johnny takes him
Oh my
down,
god, yeah.
what does Eli do to Robbie? That same move. The same move.
That literally. Oh, where did I
move.
learn that from? Your dad.
Your dad. So it is like that move. Learn it from your dad, quite literally. So
Eli literally did it without saying. That without saying it.
So even though Eli was using Miyagi-Do, like it was great how it balanced this season. That even though Miyagi-Do may have got spotlight, it didn't detract from Cobra Kai. Even though Cobra Kai got spotlight, it didn't detract from Miyagi-Do. There was a perfect balance there. And Eli using that same move, I was like, whoa, now that's cool. That's awesome.
Do you know what I love about that's when you see the styles come together? That's how it will be when Johnny and Daniel were to fully combine their styles. That's exactly how it would look. And imagine if every character in their dojo was to have this level of karate.
Oh,
that shit's crazy.
It'd be on some evolution stuff right there.
Trust me, right? Okay, we've hit the 2-hour mark. I'll take a few more quick ones. We'll quickly go through a few. Alex, again, thank you for the donation.
Alex, you are the man, dude. Don't let anyone tell you.
You must be boiling. Chosen training Robbie and Miguel together in offense. Miyagi-Do. And hopefully we get the Payne brothers versus the Lawrence brothers. Oh, that would be cool.
That's a good one.
I like that.
I like that. Nice one, Alex. That's a good one.
That was, Alex. Very nuanced.
It won't be long term.
Rubio was saying that in an interview with Shamoon. Oh, I can't remember. Roundtable, if you don't mind me when you commented this, because I started, but I need a bit of context because I don't know what it was referring to exactly. Unless you're talking, because I did bring up, I was speaking to Vanessa about Robbie and how her interaction with Robbie be, because we haven't seen Carmen and Robbie interact. And I don't know how they would go about it, because again, that's to do with Miguel. I would like to see how Robbie would feel if he went to Carmen and said, I'm sorry for what I did to your son, because he's reconciled with Johnny. What if Johnny formally introduces Robbie to Carmen and they can properly speak?
That'd be the moment. And then Carmen and Robbie can interact as well. Because I think Robbie, as much as Shannon has kind of, got on the mend and stuff, I think Robbie and Carmen will really bond well. And not to
I'm not gonna lie, I agree. I honestly think she's the forgiving type. Vanessa said this, so it would definitely make sense.
Yeah, and not to the point where it's like you stole my father figure, now you steal my mum. It's more of like, it brings them closer together. That Carmen accepts him as well. Like there'll be that hesitancy because obviously the history, but I think that's a scene that they've saved. They've saved that for a reason. They could have done it way earlier, many times.
Right, and again, it's an imperative time. Miguel has gone to find his father. Carmen seeing Robbie, it's going to be interesting how she feels, because she might be like, my son, it's actually there's a room to actually have that. The interaction can now take place with Robbie and Johnny without, the whole tension with him and Miguel. Although there's not tension like Sam and Tori, but there's still a bit of animosity there.
Yeah, there's
as they
still a
haven't
bad blood just underneath the surface, which
Yeah.
needs to, be addressed as time progresses.
Spaceman Films, thank you for the donation. Imagine we see Daniel finally using Miyagi's signature move on Silver. How should that scene play out? It sounds dark, but Loki hopes Silver dies. So, if we see him do Miyagi's signature move, is he talking about
the honk?
I mean, if he does the honk, I mean, we've already seen Daniel do the honk, into Chosen. I don't know if that would be a bit too much doing another honk. Although I love it. If he does it to Silver, then that just shows Daniel won't kill him. But I don't know, just to take attention away with a honk.
I think for this one, like Daniel might not even use a special move, just pure relentless punches.
Oh my god!
Like just extreme.
Oh my god! Imagine if it was like Daredevil versus Kingpin. When he's like, oh god, that I felt that, and the way he wanted to like snap his neck, you could see the frustration because he wants to do good.
He's like,
such great acting, man. You know that scene,
rage, especially
when he sees him, and then he goes, what if Daniel and Silver is like that level of aggression?
Yeah, like Silver will be green.
He just had
enough. Boy. He'd be like welcoming it. He wants Daniel to it. He wants Daniel.
Actually, it could be like Goblin versus Peter and Tom's Peter. There, oh my god, that would be.
I would love that. I would love.
Imagine seeing.
The person to give it to
imagine having Daredevil versus Kingpin when he's punching him in that moment.
Yeah.
And then you have underneath that Tom Holland's Peter punching Goblin, and then underneath that you have Silver doing that to Daniel doing that to Silver, and you're just watching them all at the same time.
Yep, it's literally just like a beat for beat kind of thing, and it's not just like a cool pop culture reference. Like these things are like themes in storytelling.
They could go slow mo with the Daniel Silver stuff
like
as well,
Greek mythology and all that kind of stuff. And seeing a character like Daniel go absolutely ham on Silver, like at first you're like, oh, finally, yes. But then as time goes on, you're like, oh my god, Daniel, chill out, Daniel, relax. You go to that point.
Man. I'm so excited. I honestly think that will be.
They're saving that as well.
Season 6. I mean, they will definitely interact in season 5, but season 6 most likely it will take place. Yeah, I mean, if it takes place in season 5, then I think they're setting it up for an even bigger fight for season 6, where it will be Daniel Silver, but there'll be more people involved. If they did Daniel Silver season 5, it could happen because kind of paralleling the Daniel, and he said the Daniel Kreese stuff in season 3, because season 5 is like season 3.2. You know, I mean, you know what I mean by that.
We were saying with that like finale shot. What if it has like a dojo fight just before that, same as season 3? And Daniel's the one that pulls up to the dojo this time. And this is after Robby and Miguel are on the same page. If something happens to both of those two, like...
Oh, I think we can both agree Daniel and Johnny are going to go there at the same time and just going to beat the shit out of Silver.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be so good when that plays out, man. Oh, God, I can't wait. Can't wait. I freaking love this show, man.
Oh, no, bro. Oh, I mean, listen, we could talk about this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, and I wouldn't be getting fed up. I'll just need a bit of eat a meal in between, have a break, a little intermission. I'd keep it live.
Yeah, a little intermission.
We should try that.
This is like our intervention as well for the Cobra Kai fandom to instill.
Can you imagine that? Imagine doing a live, let it roll, have like an intermission, and just eat, and then just cover the camera. I'm actually considering that. Maybe like maybe we could do that one day.
Yeah,
like this.
Intermission.
Like this, and then you have no Jacob. Where's he gone?
Retreading season 2 territory.
Okay, I think that's it for the questions. Unless, excuse me, there is one more.
I think I saw one from Darius. Just to cap off.
Darius, the mother
doing the wheel technique.
That's the question. I think we will see that. I think maybe Robby, Miguel. I think one of you was saying that. Maybe. I can see what if Anthony and Sam learned it together,
brother and sister combo,
and like maybe Chosen's like also with Daniel watching them, or if not Anthony. I mean, what if?
Unless maybe here instead of because I mean. I don't want to exclude Eli from the situation, but maybe Eli will be seen as like the main defender. What if you change the wheel technique a little bit and you have Tori, Miguel, Robby, and Sam learning the wheel technique, and Daniel changes it from 2 people as strong as 20 to 4 people as strong as 40.
I agree.
I mean, hey, and then you throw Eli and Dimitri in there, 6 versus 60. I mean, no one's touching him. Throw Sean and Kenny.
I actually think that could work. I would like to see maybe someone we're not expecting to do the wheel technique.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, this is a wild one.
Robby and Anthony.
I'm gonna put it out there.
Sam and Anthony.
Now, I was asking this to Vanessa, saying, if we could see you, would you love to be more involved in like karate, that kind of stuff?
Mm.
And Amanda, I mean, Courtney said she'd love to be a bit more involved in that way.
Yeah.
Not that they need to make them big karate characters now and just make them learn the karate, but if they were learning a bit of defense and they were both willing to learn some sort of form, what if they were doing the wheel technique together?
Damn.
Mothers like both like learning it, and they're really bad at it, but like they're really learning, and they're doing it
for a really
for the
fun
sake
scene.
of their families and themselves. Like,
yeah. They're like, you know what, this all sounds crazy, but whatever keeps our family safe, we need to know a little bit just in case our house gets broken into again.
My theory with that is I feel Silver's going to strike fear into the valley, because I said this to Vanessa as well. Like, how would you feel like about a man like Silver out there? Like, how would Carmen react to him, especially all the things he's done? Apart from Kreese, you know, the moment Kreese had with Amanda was really interesting. Like, that's showing how fed up Amanda is of all the karate stuff. What about Carmen? when is she going to flip out and get like,
yeah, what's her moment?
Silver?
What's that?
Or she does like a chosen. I said, imagine her doing the pressure points or the dragon technique.
So like, as soon as like Johnny, Robby, and Miguel come back with that target on their backs, like I think something could happen to where she's like, you know, Mama Diaz just goes and gives Silver a big clap.
Or Yaya just comes in and goes.
She uses the gun from the movie.
But I didn't have to honk the Silver.
Honk. That'd be hilarious.
That would be amazing. Okay, no, that question already answered. Okay, well, that is it, guys. Thank you all for those that are still here. Thank you for joining. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Me and Jacob had well, I hope you did have loads of fun. Otherwise,
I had a great time. Everyone raise a pint to this man right here. Honestly,
raise your Lucozade,
and I'll raise a squash.
Do you know what? I want to do this because I have 2 green bottles. I actually really want to try my green screen. Hold up.
Oh,
this is gonna look so funny.
Oh god, this is gonna look weird.
Wait, is green screen on?
Drum roll.
Wait, why isn't this? Oh, TCK. Wait, look. My Lucozade is transparent.
Oh god. It blends in with the Hulk. Yeah, give me the Cyclops I deserve. But that's another stream.
Look, it's
you can see the Hulk. You can see the Hulk.
It's the TCK, that's for you.
TCK, that's for you. It's not easy being green. Thank you for bringing me on, Kimmy, man. Honestly, it's been a pleasure, and what a stream to come onto as well. Shout out to Alex once more in the chat. I see you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, all you guys in the stream. Dennis, Lisa, Chase. I see you. Darius, Jim, Tim, Tristan, Lisa, Darius, of course.
Darkies.
Juliana, Aaron. Everybody, thank you all for joining. Seriously, yeah, Jacob, this mother.
Oh, there's another Jacob in the chat.
I was talking about you, but yeah, I think that is everybody. Thank you, Rash.
Family baby.
All right, guys.
See you later,
Evan. Julie Pierce sends her regards.
He joined the show in season 5 at the end credit scene.
So Scottish, aren't you, Evan? CVO, your favorite person.
Bye, CVO.
CVO, thank you for joining as we leave. Very unlucky for you. Anyway, guys, me and Jacob are tuning out. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to us.
Guys. Get this man.
Subscribe to this guy. This guy right here. Subscribe to Jacob right now. Turn his notifications on. Subscribe to me. Turn my notifications on. Follow our Instagrams below, CKNationYT and The Last Chosen 197. And don't be a schmuck. Smash the like button.
Because otherwise, we won't love you. And no one
she doesn't love me. and you won't love anybody. Goodbye.